I am doing it. We are preparing to live stream the meeting. Setting up our meeting for YouTube Live.
It says meeting is now streaming live on YouTube on my screen.
Yeah, well, it may well be. I mean, who knows how these things work?
Hello,
I'm being told
that if we're live, hello.
Started streaming less than 1 minute ago. That's reassuring. Well, if you are seeing this and you have joined us, there we go. It does sound like we're live. Yes. Hello. This is the final word watch along. Playing the part of Adam Collins today will be Daniel Norcross, because Adam Collins has a sick baby, and he may be in. He may pop in. He's not been willing to give up the dream of doing this live watch along, so he may pop in for a cameo here or there throughout the day. We are watching the Sunrisers, Hyderabad, play the Royal Challengers, Bangalore. RCB got a win. First up, SRH didn't, and looks like RCB batting first. We didn't really have time, Daniel, to work out what happened at the toss or what the teams were, but we figure we'll work this out as we go along.
Yeah, we've watched enough cricket, haven't we? I mean, we kind of know how it works. The teams will make themselves clear. Hyderabad, we know, are bowling. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar is about to bowl the first ball, and I get very excited whenever Bhuvi is about to start doing something. You're making quite a humming noise in my ear.
Am I? Okay.
Yeah. You're not anymore. That's good.
Okay. Well,
we're getting the countdown. What do you think of the countdown? I despise it. Every time you lean forward, you buzz.
Okay. It's a leaning buzz. Interesting. All right. Well, there must be some reason for that. I'll have to stay relaxed and just very casually reach out to. Did that buzz again?
Yeah, it's buzzing right now. Oh, it's buzzing big time. Now it stopped. It's one of life's great mysteries.
Yeah. Look, these are all mysteries. We don't know how these things work. Well, I haven't actually seen it because my stream has chosen this moment to completely freeze.
Oh, I can talk you through it if you like. David Warner's clapping his hands in a very animated fashion.
Yeah,
and
I saw it.
Booby's
steered away behind backward point. That was,
Well, that ball.
That
We'll have the first boundary. First ball, second ball of the innings, and Kohli. The ball swung in to him in the slot, and he's just been plonked back over his head. So, a bit too full, bit too straight. Kohli. Okay. What do you think of Kohli opening?
I like it.
I
like it because, from a selfish perspective, I like watching him bat. And when he opens the batting, it means that I don't have to wait for that to happen, and I don't have to run the risk that someone else will, say, bat through 18 overs and then he'll play less time. And I think that, by and large, the crowds at grounds agree with that, because every time the first wicket falls for India when he's at 3, there's an enormous cheer, which must be really shithouse when you're an opening batsman who's just been dismissed, and everyone's like, yes, he's out, piss off.
Yeah, in Test cricket when he's at 4, it's very confusing when you watch India if they go to 14 for 2. And you hear the crowd going absolutely berserk, because Indian crowds are magnificent, but they are notoriously silent when Indian wickets tend to fall.
Yeah.
Except when Kohli's due next. I think it's a great move, because actually, I don't think he's the best T20 player in the world when he bats further down. So I think it actually causes his sides occasionally a bit of problems, whereas you stick him up top, and not only can he then go at his own pace, but he can also break his legendary century drought, because this has been going on now since 2019. There's a Twitter.
Yes.
There's a Twitter handle that has days since Kohli last got 100. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I did calculate that he would recently have broken his own record, which was about, I can't remember, 600 and something days at the start of his career. But that was. He only played 8 or 9 matches in that time. They were all 50-over games because he wasn't playing the other formats. So it took him a little while to get going. But in the more recent span, he played 40-odd matches and still averaged 50 plus across all formats, and had been making plenty of runs, just hadn't made hundreds.
A few ducks though, didn't he? Against England in that actually not particularly humiliating series of matches for England, strangely enough, since they managed to win some, which most people don't in India. I think he got 3 ducks, which was, that's extraordinary. Now, I've got to ask you another question.
Okay.
Because I was asked this on Twitter, and I gave a knee-jerk response. You know, Ben Stokes is out of the tournament with a broken finger.
Yep.
And I was asked, will Radhasan get a replacement? And if so, who should it be? And I just went for Devon Conway because A, I like his name, and B, I like his numbers. But I've hardly seen anything of Devon Conway, to be honest with you, because his recent run of form has coincided with me either being in bed or watching other cricket. Have you seen much of him?
Yeah, I watched the Australia-New Zealand T20 series in which he was prominent. And he looks really good in that sort of unfussed, really good number 3 sort of way, in that he's got all the shots. He doesn't have anything that particularly stands out. He doesn't score all of his runs in one particular area, whatever it is, you know, outside off stump, fine, leg side, fine, pick up shots and scoops, no worries. Can go at 150 sort of strike rate if he needs to, can wind it back if he needs to, has an extremely strong South African accent for the post-match interviews, which is always, you know, amusingly incongruous when you see a New Zealand uniform walk up and then start talking out of Bloemfontein. And so all of that comes together really nicely, I think.
Okay, so I might have been right then. I mean, from an English perspective, which I occasionally have, it's great news for England having Ben Stokes injured, because you'd think that Rajasthan are going to struggle now to qualify, which means that Archer, Butler, Stokes probably all be available for the first 2 Test matches of the summer. I mean, there was a little jig of joy and delight that went around England yesterday.
I mean, do you feel like they're desperately needed for home Test matches?
Against New Zealand.
You're scared of New Zealand at the moment, aren't you?
Well, you should be. Everybody should be scared of New Zealand. I mean, apart from India, who will undoubtedly tie the World Test Championship final and win on boundary countback.
Win on countback.
They probably won't even, they'll probably change it. It won't be boundary countback. It'll be something even more ridiculous, like numbers of overs of spin bowled throughout the tournament.
Good to see that David Warner's wearing 2 hats, following the Owen Morgan trend.
It's a bit of that about.
Yeah.
It always has me in mind of old Asterix cartoons. You know, when Obelix would defeat Roman legionaries and then keep their hats as a memento.
Oh, yeah. And keep the helmets.
Yeah, he'd carry the helmets, wouldn't he, with him? And it always has me in mind of that for some reason.
There was a cartoon about some sort of animal that sold caps, that went around selling flat caps and wore them all on top of his head in a big pile.
Oh,
big stack.
That too
what am I thinking of?
Yeah. Was it like a weasel?
Maybe. Those sort of old gaffer, old man style flat caps, and they just pile up and up in a huge pile on top of the head. I think that's where Owen Morgan's going with that. I feel like there should be a solution to that. There should be some sort of clip that you can wear on the waistband of the trousers or something that you can clip your bowler's hat into, because it's an undignified look, the 2 hats.
It is, but maybe
you can't take a captain seriously with 2 hats.
Maybe they should take their do what the Pakistan women do. I mean, they all just bowl in the cap. I've had some serious issues when commentating from 100 yards away, when they have about 4 left arm spinners, the Pakistan, all wearing caps, all about 5'2", and all of them with a ponytail coming out the back. And if you're commentating from behind, you can get your Anam Amins mixed up a little bit. You end up claiming Anam Amin is bowling from both ends if you're not careful.
What about aren't there numbers and names on the back of the shirt?
Well, not always, and not always. They haven't always been. I mean, I'm going back to about 2016, I want to say. I think when Pakistan came to England. It was a really bizarre series. They played 350 over games. They were bowled out for 163 in the first game, 164 in the second, and 165 in the third. It was progress of sorts. They've improved markedly since then. Those are the days when they actually picked Son Amir. Anyway, we've got really off-piste here talking about 50 over women's cricket in 2016. Do we need to update
I've managed to bring up the chat window. I've been trying to work out how to do that. That's why I've been poking around. So Gautam Ray is on there saying we're very live, and you can hear us all fine.
Hello, Gautam.
Nishant Shaw is in there as well. Mel Shawley is asking why I am labelled as Adam. That's because I'm using Adam's Zoom account to do this. So I'm not Adam, and neither is Daniel Norcross, which is the opposite of I'm Brian and so is my wife. Neither of us are Adam Collins.
I'm really pleased that my wife actually remembered to change the handle on this, because I did 2 quite important work meetings without noticing that we'd changed our name to Greta Thunberg Smells of Herring for a Zoom quiz. And so I was sat there doing I think it was a TMS meeting with Greta Thunberg Smells of Herring, which is not a great look, because for a start, I like Greta Thunberg, and I've no idea if she smells of herring. I mean, unless she's just rolled around in some herring.
She's been eating herring recently, I suppose.
Do you smell of herring even if you've eaten it?
Maybe if it comes out your pores. Priyanka is saying hello. Hello, Priyanka. Hello, Kashish Jain. Good to see everybody joining up with us. So we're probably not at the time of the match that you are because of the internet and lags and all of that. But on our screens, in our world, RCB are 18 for none. Is that what they are on your screen?
No, they're 17 for none. They're now 18 for one. So I think you're 1 ball ahead of me. That ball's just been edged down to third man. Sorry, listeners, we're just doing a little bit of on-air production here.
Oh, that's all right. I've just paused momentarily.
I'll tell you what. If you pause in the bowling stride of the next ball of 2.3, then I'll give you a bit of commentary. Do you want a little bit of, I don't know if our listeners are remotely interested in some authentic BBC TMS style commentary. Because for those of you who don't know who I am, right, you've just had it.
So here comes
the
I'm going to pause for 2.4.
Right arm over the wicket, the left-handed Padikkal, who pulls at this, doesn't quite get hold of it, and it just sort of shanks towards mid-wicket, where it's easily picked up, and there is no run. 18 without loss. Royal Challengers Bangalore. Bhuvneshwar Kumar not getting the ball to swing too much at the moment, Jeffrey.
This is beautiful, Daniel. So at the point that Bhuvi's about to deliver 2.4, you let me know, and I'll hit play.
I'll tell you what, I'll commentate this ball as well. He's at the top of his mark now. The floodlights shining. He's running in now. Again, right arm over this time. Again to Padikkal, who pulls, but he gets nothing on it. Thuds into his pads and is now picked up.
Lovely. I feel so synced up with you. I feel completely in time. So good to see Padikkal back. Had a bit of the COVIDs, had a bit of the isolations, created some controversy because he was allowed back in the bubble too quickly, according to other teams. It's always other teams who get mad about things, isn't it? They don't want you to have your best players.
Well, why would they? Especially in such a tight league as the IPL. I mean, every year, one thing I'm going to say now is that every year a side gets through by net run rate. And every year, sides pay no attention to net run rate in the group stages until there are 3 or 4 games left. And it utterly baffles me. The other day, which was a game the other day when the side cruised to victory by 8 balls to spare, but should have got there with about 18 balls to spare. And I was doing my head in. Let's go, use your resources. Doesn't matter if you're 7 down. Win in 16.4 because you never know how important it's going to be.
Yeah. It wasn't as significant as KKR not cruising to victory when they needed 31 off 31. Oh, yeah, wicket.
We got a wicket. Padikkal's tried to play that shot against. I wonder, Kumar must have been bowling to a plan there, Geoff, because he's bowled just back of the length at Padikkal 3 times in that over. Padikkal had shanked a couple of them. This time he got a bit high on the bat. Nice catch, but mid-wicket, diving low, two-handed. But that must have been a plan. Because that's the same ball every time. He wasn't trying to really slant it fully across, was he? It was sort of like, it was almost as if Padikkal likes to pull, let's be frank.
It's, when I watch Bhuvneshwar Kumar bowling, and he does bowl back of a length, it's, I don't know, it's like watching the bartender pour out all of the beer. You know, you think, I want to see him pitch up and swing it. But he's so effective back of a length. So he uses that all the time in T20 cricket. And yeah, that line in at the body, I reckon that was exactly the plan.
this is a bit compromising. My wife brought me a cup of tea, but she brought me this mug. Yeah. I don't know what to do about it. I mean, hopefully our Indian listeners are unaware of what the word colloquialism means. So, but anyway, sorry if you're offended. Blame my wife.
Well, you'll be, if it helps you feel any better, I've got a comment here from Vadapali Aditya who says Daniel Norcross is one of my favourite commentators. So there you go.
That's incredibly kind. Thank you.
And a question from Vagesh Mohan asks, do you need a BBC voice to be picked up on TMS?
Well, that's an incredibly good question. Because also you'd have to say, what is a BBC voice? Because you've been on TMS many times, Geoff.
Yes, I mean, I don't have one of those.
Well, I don't know that you don't. You've got quite a deep, throaty. I mean, just because you're Australian doesn't mean it's not a TMS. I mean, Jim Maxwell is. Mm-hmm. I know he's associated with ABC in Australia, but in this country, it's TMS all the way. There have been so many different commentators, haven't there? I mean, if you think of John Orlett and that strange Hampshire burr, and then you have Blowers, my dear old thing, whose voice is completely different. So I think, as a general rule, the answer to that is that commentary tends to sound a little nicer with rich, deep voices, doesn't it? You think about the very best women commentators, people like Mel Jones, lovely, deep, rich voice. You know, Isha Guha is able to keep that voice nice and rich and deep, and Ali Mitchell does the same. So it's I suppose we all learn techniques, don't we? Commentary. You'll have thought of a few, and most of them are around modulation, but being able to go low and then high,
and have some level of variation, so that you don't always sound the same. Like you're coming in saying "Danger, Will Robinson." Let's have a look at what's happening here, because Shabazz has come up to number 3 in this game. They've jigged the order around. AB's listed at 4, Maxwell listed at 5. Different to what happened the other night when AB came in at 5 after the others.
Oh, I hated that. I hated that. Why was he in at 5?
Yeah. Well, he won the game for them, didn't he?
It's a crime against humanity. We're only able to see AB de Villiers in the IPL. And having to wait for 3 wickets to fall before he comes in, I just think it's insane. We've got to get the most we can out of it. Now, I know you might say, well, in that case, do I want him to open? I mean, within reason. I think 4 absolute lowest, 3 ideally for me for de Villiers. There's so much firepower in that RCB lineup.
Smart little pull shot from Kohli. I like the way he just shifts across a bit and dinks them around to the leg side.
He moves across a crease. He uses a crease so well, doesn't he, Kohli? I mean, that's one of the things that you notice, that actually he's got a bit of Steve Smith in him, but he looks so much less freakish than Smith. But actually, what he does is he owns that off stump and the bit outside off stump. He just does it in a much more elegant and beautiful way.
I think, I mean, Steve Smith looks a bit funny doing everything. It doesn't really matter what it is that he does. Like, I don't know if you've seen the clip of him trying to dance with the Indian players doing some advertising shoot or whatever it was. But it's whatever it is that he does, it's not quite right.
Well, I always say about Steve Smith that whenever I watch him play, I mean, you know, you were in England in 2019 for the Ashes, and we got to see an awful lot of Steve Smith bat. But weirdly, the first half hour of every Steve Smith innings is always still novelty. You always go, what the heck is this? It takes you half an hour of Steve Smith doing it before you get used to it. And then if you're overly partisan, which I'm afraid to say some of my colleagues can occasionally be, and I don't just mean in the commentary box, I mean in the press box, then it takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours before you actually hear people going, oh, for God's sake, oh, just get out. Oh, this is just horrible. I can't stand any more of this. Which is incredibly ungracious and extremely unfair. But Can
I just point out on screen at the moment, David Warner's done the huge dive into the boundary rope to try to scoop the ball back. And he hasn't lost either of his hats. Both of the hats have stayed on. Good God, you're right. The first time. It's the first time I've seen it. That not only not losing one hat, but not losing either hat.
And he's really dived magnificently.
He's really hit the ground hard.
He's done a proper, like me trying to look elegant in a swimming pool, but ending up getting too scared and then just going in off the lip, and sort of body slamming it.
He's gone. I'd like to think that's how you would look going into, say, a vat of white wine.
Oh yeah.
Just actually, it's full enthusiasm.
It's a bit like being on a lilo as well, isn't it? It's a little bit like, you get on a lilo and you sort of paddle along. There's an element of that.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant
stop. He gets into bed like that. Do you think at the end of the night he just gets a good run up and just flies in like that?
I'm sorry, listeners, but Jeffrey has made me go on a massively, it'll be a brief, but incredibly, to me, funny digression. You're obviously familiar with the philosopher Immanuel Kant, who wrote The Critique of Pure Reason.
Of course.
This was a man, and the reason why I mentioned he wrote The Critique of Pure Reason is that he had a morbid fear of garters, for a start. So he used to actually attach wires around his shoulder to keep his socks up because he was scared of his circulation stopping. But also, when he went to bed, and this is why it came to my mind, he used to stand next to his bed with two sheets, one on either side, and then he would jump into the bed and in one movement grab each sheet with the opposing hand and wrap it across himself and lie on his back like a mummified pharaoh. And he slept like that. He also only ever left. Isn't he supposed to have only left?
That's how Dracula went to bed, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So a rat, so kind of bat-like cape. Anyway, I don't know whether David Warner does that, but Immanuel Kant certainly did. So, kids,
I would hope so.
I don't know if that's come as news to our listeners or watchers or not, but if not, you can use it. He also, by the way, had a morbid fear of towels. So whenever he washed, he used to stand on one leg in his garden and be blow-dried by the weather, which meant that
so he was fine with sheets, but afraid of towels.
That's correct. He wrote The Critique of Pure Reason. I mean, you couldn't make it up.
What is a towel if not a small sheet?
I know. It's extraordinary, isn't it?
Whom amongst us has not slept under a towel at one point after a large night?
Very much so.
I've got to respond to a couple of questions here. Srikumari Para wants to know, where is Adam with caps lock? He's got a sick baby. Winnie is not well, so Adam is looking after Winnie, who is very loud and very needy. Srikumari Para.
Srikumari Para, I'm sorry. I'm an ersatz Adam for today, but he'll probably pop in.
Yeah, he'll pop in when he's got a bit of time.
And he'll be back for the whole of the IPL. I'm just, look, this is my birthday, so I'm just, as a birthday gift from me to Colo, you've just got to endure me for a little bit.
Questions that have been asked. There was one that I wanted to... Yeah, here we go. Bharat has asked, do you think that uncapped Indian players can win the orange and purple cap this year? Well, I will say that Nitish Rana has had a pretty bloody good start as far as run scoring goes. His wicket, was it only last night? I'm getting the games confused already. Was the decisive point in the loss, and he absolutely battered runs in his first outing as well. So he's a chance at the top of the order. It helps to be an opening batsman to score the most runs. Oh, Shabazz. Here we go. Yeah, Shabazz has just hit a 6.
And a beautiful shot it was too. Moving across his crease and thumping it, sweeping it high in the air. I like that shot. As for wicket taker, an uncapped wicket taker. Now Harshal, has he been capped by India?
No.
Well, I mean, it's not an impossibility that he could play a part.
Yep.
I think there's something. Yep. I've got to say now, for any Tawatia fans out there, I don't think so. I don't think he should pin your hopes there. And that's fine, handy cricketer, but I don't think he's going to be leading wicket taker.
Prasid Krishna's sort of ruined it by getting picked the other week unexpectedly. He
got picked. That has entirely ruined it, I'm afraid to say. A lot of them have been picked now. Siraj, Saini, Natarajan, who are all the kind of the usual suspects you might have thought for this accolade. So they're out.
Can I point out here that right at the moment we've got Shabazz versus Shabazz. We've got a Shabazz off, Shabazz Ahmed and Shabazz Nadeem. The double Shabazz.
Shabazz Nadeem, of course, was the most curious pick in the recent Test series between India and England, wasn't it?
Well, he was a very unlucky pick because he got to play on the one wicket that was decent for batting and then got punted. And then they bring in the other bloke on the 3 dust bowls. And Akshar Patel just cleans up. So you'd feel a bit hard done by.
Yeah, but I think Akshar Patel, I should say, will probably feel hard done by for the rest of his career, as he's unlikely to play again for India for about another 10 years when Jadeja comes back. And also, of course, in England, India, if they play 2 spinners, it'll be Ashwin and Jadeja, won't it? Provided
you think so. I mean, you can't leave out Jadeja. You can't leave out a guy who is clearly, for my money, the best fielder in the world.
He's the best all-rounder in the world, Geoff. His numbers are unbelievable. He averages about 40 with a bat and 24 with a ball in tests.
And in the last 2 or 3 years, he averages more like mid-50s with the bat. So he's really clicked with the bat. Someone who can offer you that, plus the bowling, plus the fielding. Even if you don't agree that he's the best in the world, he's in the top 3, you know.
Absolutely. I have him in there for his batting and his fielding. I mean, India did, of course, in the World Cup, which we watched back in 2019, a lot of it together. And it usually took about 3 overs before there was an injury substitution. I think Jadeja was on the field for longer than almost anybody else in that Indian squad.
Well, he got picked in one match in the first 9 in the pool stages. And he had the most fielding involvements. CricViz were tracking those stats. He fielded the ball more times, saved more runs, and was one of the top catch takers for the tournament, despite playing one game.
Staggering catches I have seen live against England at long on, I want to say it was. It would have been Roy, I think, off Jason Roy or Johnny Bairstow. And it was wondrous. He was on as a sub.
Pull shot. Kohli pull shot alert. Little klaxon's going to go off for a...
Is this the day? Is he going to get his 100 today?
Yeah. He's got IPL hundreds before.
Yeah, but he hasn't got 100 in any cricket for too long.
But I don't think this is going to... You know, he could make one in the IPL. He still won't have made one for India, which is the thing that kind of matters more, you know.
Well, that's a really good question. For our watchers, is that what matters more? Because that's one of the fears that people have around the world. I don't share it, I must say. But the fear of the IPL for non-Indian people is that it's going to take over like a kind of giant substitute, like the invasion of the body snatchers. And, you know, we're all going to be Donald Sutherland one day. We're going to wake up going, say entire strategic timeout! Which, incidentally, by the way, can I borrow you on this? Because I was mulling on this yesterday. If I was the marketing manager of Seat Tyres, would I want to sponsor the one thing in the biggest tournament that everyone resents? No one likes a strategic timeout. It just means 2.5 minutes where they're not playing cricket.
Well, the other thing to consider is that if you are a company that sells tyres, a product famously whose reason for existence is things continuing, do you want to be involved with something that means something has stopped? If tyres have meant that you've stopped, that's a problem. Nobody wants to be thinking, "Oh fuck, we're on the side of the road and we've stopped because of the tyres."
So the Seat handbrake strategic timeout would be an altogether better thing, you reckon?
Well, I mean, it would make more sense.
It would.
Maybe some sort of emergency braking system. Maybe like a home security kind of system, a reinforced anti-criminal door or security alarm. Something that stops things happening. You know, maybe an anti-diarrhea tablet, something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's a brilliant idea. Yeah, the diary's strategic timeout. I could see that.
You know, when you need to stop play urgently. Look, Dan, I don't want to throw you under the bus here, but Keith Johnson has left a comment saying, "Dan, please sort out the audio issues on the podcast you do with Stephen Finn. It is a great pod, but your audio is out of sorts. So sort that out, my friend."
Well, how do I sound now, out of interest? Because
you sound great to me.
Well, do you know why? Lovely comment. Thank you very much. Where I was going wrong on the podcast was that I was using a proper microphone for the first like 5 or 6, 7 episodes of the pod.
Yep.
And then it transpired, and I tried 2 different microphones, and it transpired that my microphones made me sound worse than just not having a microphone. So the latest one, by the way, if you want a little sneak preview of the latest Zero Ducks Given pod, I call Alison Mitchell a pitch Nazi yesterday.
Oh.
I know.
What was that for, saying that you shouldn't use the word wicket to refer to the pitch?
That's right. Yeah, because she's determined that 22 yards. And I asked her, but she refused to answer. And you know I like Alison very much, and I work with her a lot. She refused to answer the question, well, what's a sticky wicket then? This term has been going for 139 years. I believe the first recorded example of sticky wicket was in the
playing on a sticky wicket.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. So I'm afraid she's a pitch Nazi. Hopefully she won't sue me. Oh, hello. That is a cracker.
Wicket.
Great catch. Wicket alert. Wicket alert.
You'll be pleased to know that Keith has followed up to say you sound good at the moment, and thankful that I brought it up. Second wicket down, so let's see. Nishant reckons that Maxwell's going to come in next, not AB. Let's find out just how angry Daniel Norcross might be.
Well, you know, any time Maxi walks the wicket, I get excited. So I'm not going to be apoplectic with rage because, or dyspeptic even, if I see Maxi. But I just don't understand how AB can be in at 4. At 5. At 5, I can't understand it.
A very good point here from Dr. Niles saying, read the strategic timeout. The ability to stop is an essential characteristic of tyres. That is true.
Yeah, he's got a good point there. Yeah, but the thing is, they're not really bought for their stopping, are they? They're sort of bought for their going, I think. And actually, just generally,
I think the stopping's important.
The stopping's got to be important. Yeah, no, I grant you that. Look, I mean, I'm not going to be doctrinaire on this issue, but I just I think that the strategic timeout is something that if I were the marketing manager of any company, I would steer clear of, because we all hate it. And actually, while I've got you, and I've got,
but you know what it's called. You know what it's called. Isn't it just about brand recognition?
Yeah,
how many tyre companies can you name? MRF for being on Sachin's bat, and Seat. That's it.
I have bought 2 tyres in my life, right? I mean, I don't drive a great deal, which might be part of it, but I don't go to the tyre shop and say, make sure you give me a Goodyear. I am not walking out of here with a Seat or a Dunlop. I just say, what's the cheapest tyre that'll not kill me? You know, I mean, they're just rubber. I mean, come on. I don't, mind you, I was always very confused by the obsession with cement. I didn't think it was a weird thing that you'd turn up, you know, you'd take the kids along to the IPL game, and you know, one would turn to
next time you need some cement.
I want Indian cement for my birthday, and I do not want Ambuja. Don't put Ambuja anywhere near me. I am not I hate that cement.
All right, I just need to point out here, Virat Kohli and Glenn Maxwell are batting together. This is a beautiful thing. We've seen this once this season. We may see it more times. A question from Arohan asking if the stream is a few minutes late. Almost inevitably, it's a few minutes late because we're watching streams of the game and then creating our own stream, which has to go back to the internet. So, you know, it's like the marathon, you know, running from Sparta to Athens, and then you've got to run back again with the other message. And then you guys have to receive it. And by the time you're receiving it, it's probably a couple of minutes down the line. But look, that's the price we pay. You get to find all of our reaction 2 minutes after something has happened. So in our world, Kohli and Maxwell are batting together. If they've just got out, don't tell us because, you know.
No, don't tell us. We'll ruin it for us.
Nearly. That was a nice delivery from Shabazz Nadeem. Got the left armour to turn one past the outside edge of Maxwell.
Yeah, he's probably a little bit. It is slow, isn't it? Don't you think? Because I think one of the reasons that Nadeem was left out was that they wanted someone who was going to fire the ball into the pitch. You know, in the Test series, which is where Akshar came in. Which, interestingly, I was talking to Alistair Cook about this, and he said that was the exact opposite of what you need in England. So when you get the quicker spinners coming on, they relish it. They relish playing against them on English surfaces. But in India, you need a quicker spinner. Now, he's bowled that pretty slowly, hasn't it? And the pitch has really sluggish. What are we looking at? 150, 160? Going to be par?
Yeah, well, it's been a characteristic so far because we've had a few games at Chennai, and I've noticed particularly with the seamers, it's the effective bowling has been a lot of cutters, not the sort of weird back of the hand slower balls, but just digging it into the pitch and having that take the pace out of it. Andre Russell got wickets like that the other night. That's how Harshal got wickets in that first game. So they've been using that surface, and then we've got Rashid Khan coming on in our world, in our universe timeline.
We need some kind of a theme tune for him, don't we? I mean,
you're not going to try to get us into the jingles phase already on this broadcast, are you?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I absolutely adore Rashid Khan. I can't understand why Adil Rashid isn't playing in the IPL as well, but yeah, I mean, I suppose he's a slower kind of spinner. But Rashid Khan, this is a key moment here. I think we could be. You going to bowl him through? You're going to bowl all 4 overs of Rashid Khan at this stage? I
guess it depends what happens.
I guess
if he goes for 20 in the first over, probably
your plan. But if it was your plan, would you be thinking your fiendish, cunning master plan? Bowl 8, 10, 12, 14, bowl those 4 overs, get rid of at least...
Hobble them, make them desperate, make them have to slog at the end. Oh.
That's turned a mile. So, okay, the next question I have for you, and I'm hoping because other people are watching this, that they'll be able to provide me with the answer, and I'm a little bit embarrassed to acknowledge that I don't know. So I've commentated quite a few games for the BBC on the IPL. And
here we go. Maxie's gone for it. Over cover. Oh, what a shot.
Are you okay?
What a shot is that. I mean, just for the waist down. You've got Rashid Khan bowling quick off the pitch, and then just to be able to break the wrists like that and pop it over cover. Nearly carried for 6. That's gorgeous.
That is gorgeous. I thought the bat turned in his hand there. But yeah. What I want to know, and I genuinely want to know the answer to this, you might know, the strategic timeouts, there's 2 of them. Is one chosen by the batting side and one by the fielding side?
That is my understanding, yes.
Which one is which?
Don't know.
And so...
I don't... this is one of the cases, Adam and I discussed this before the tournament, where we said, generally, we know more about games than our audiences. But when we're talking about the IPL, we definitely don't. The audience knows a lot more about the IPL than we do. So, yeah, I'll throw that to the audience to answer that question.
Yeah, because I'd be fascinated to know, because whilst I've been slagging off the strategic timeout, maybe if there is some strategy in it, like it would be worth speculating on. So here, for example, we know the first strategic timeout's got to happen between overs 6 and 9. So do you take it as if you're the fielding side and you can take it, do you take it to upset a rhythm, or do you actually forget about it completely and then the umpire gives you a nudge and says, hey, mate, you've got to take the strategic timeout, like pronto? Oh, sorry, yes.
I reckon about 9 times out of 10, that's how it goes. You've just got to take it for whatever the reason is. I'm getting some information
this is good.
On this. Mansahesh Singh says 6 to 9, as in, is that over 6 to 9? It's taken by the bowling side. Later, it's taken by the batting side.
That's fantastic. I
need to know this. The first one is fielding side. The second one's batting side.
Right. So why would you do it that way around, I wonder? Because in a way, as a fielding side, you'd like to have the flexibility in the second half, wouldn't you? I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure if I mean that. I mean, I'm trying to think about it, and I'm not succeeding.
I'm gonna see if I can change my screen name so that people stop thinking that I'm Adam Collins. Maybe I'll just say not Adam Collins.
Do you know how to change your screen name? If you click on your screen name.
Yeah, I worked it out.
Rename.
There we go. Done it. How easy was that? Look at this. Technological age, baby.
Yeah, that's impressive. That is very impressive. And do you know what? Oh, you need to tell me how you do it.
You go and click on where your name is down in the bottom left.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
I agree. Sunny says Nadeem is bowling really well. Absolutely the case. It's looked really good today. It's just that turn away from the bat once in a while. And all they can do is hustle singles at the moment. So
There you go.
You did it.
Yeah, I did it.
We're going to get about 60 messages now saying, why does Adam Collins look different?
I just thought, it's Adam Collins' baby along with yours, and it seems only right that he has a presence here at all times.
Swami suggests that I should change my screen name to Adam Collins, but more handsome. I mean, frankly, unnecessary. People can draw their own conclusions.
You've got a fan there, Jeffrey. Right, so the strategic timeout has now got to happen at some point in the next 2 balls.
Yep.
You can take it, though, in mid-over after you've taken a wicket, can't you? Oh, I say, how has that missed the stump? We just see the ball from Nadeem that has missed the top of off.
That was classic Maxwell ball there, falling over. Now he's gone the reverse switch hit straight to mid-wicket along the ground. 6 off 12 balls. That's not where you want to be strike rate wise, is it?
No, I mean, look, I don't want to keep on going on about AB de Villiers, but if he doesn't get a wriggle on, then I will go on about AB de Villiers and the crime against humanity. That's going to be it. It's going to be strategic timeout time. Goodness
gracious!
It's so thrilling, isn't it?
I've never had to fill through a strategic timeout, but
I have. Yeah, I mean, let's see what we tend to do.
Well, you've done a fair bit. You do IPL sometimes on BBC, don't you? Is that happening this season?
It is. I've got my first game is on Friday. I've got a game on Friday and Saturday, and I'll tell our listeners a very weird and quirky thing. So, because of the very sad death of Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, and the funeral taking place on Saturday between 3 and 4, the ECB, the English Cricket Board, made recommendations for recreational cricket that they should stop playing between 3 and 4, which I don't think has been universally welcomed. But we will not be on air. So if you're tuning in, if you're wanting to tune in on Saturday to 5 Live Sports Extra, wait until 4 o'clock. We will be there at 4 o'clock. I will be picking up the commentary at 4 o'clock, 1 hour into the game. We won't, I'm afraid, start from the beginning of the game. So we'll just pick it up after, it's the IPL. So about 9.4 overs will be an hour in. So about 9.4 overs. And so, yeah, it's a strange and quirky thing. But yes, I have therefore had to talk through quite a few strategic timeouts. And traditionally, I suppose there's been a bit of chat about the power play, how many runs are scored in it, was it enough, what the pitch is like. I don't know whether we want to do that, or something entirely different, like, because it's my birthday, what have I done today? Well,
I can tell you that Pratik has written in to say that the listeners will make it easier for us by asking lots of questions. So
go for it.
That's good.
Have they done that?
Keith Johnson's back asking, when do we reckon would be the earliest Afghanistan would play a test match in England? Would love to sense the terror when Rashid Khan comes on to bowl.
Yeah, well, I think when England play against Afghanistan in a test match, it'll be very early May and it'll be in Durham. It'll be about 9 degrees. So that's traditionally how the English negate. There was all that talk about pitches in India during the test series, and I just kept on thinking back to all those series we play against Sri Lanka, where the games take place in Durham and Leeds in May. I'm thinking,
Darren Stevens will get a test cap.
Well, he ought to, frankly, because he'd be absolutely unplayable in those conditions. But so I'm glad you mentioned Darren Stevens. I've come off the back of 130 odd and picked up a few wickets as well. Evergreen, 44 years old.
45 in a couple of weeks, Darren Stevens.
Have you had him on Final Word?
No, we haven't. We probably should. He's on the Swanji Madnayaka train. I think Swanji's 49 this year, maybe. His ambition is to be the first over 50 to play first class cricket since, God knows, I can't remember.
Oh no, probably no. I'll tell you, it'd have been
more recent than that.
Wouldn't it be Fred Titmus?
Or would it be...
Well, Fred Titmus played in 5 decades. So he played in 1949 and he also played in 1980. So that's 31 years.
I reckon there's someone more recent than that, but it's one of those English names that could belong to anybody else. So my brain's throwing up things like John Embury or something. It's probably not him, but
there's into his 40s, but not... Oh, Ray Illingworth?
Maybe.
I think he played when he was over 50. Yeah. Adam will be screaming in furious rage if he heard our ignorance at this point.
Well, you'll be pleased to know that Adam's actually in the comments. So he keeps not being on the call. He keeps logging into the text chat and answering questions. You
can't stop, can he? He's administering to a sick baby at the same time as administering to his parish.
As typing with one hand. He's saying he's the first since a Sri Lankan in 1995. Well, that doesn't help.
Well, it narrows it down a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, we can rule a lot of people out, at least. We can't necessarily rule a lot of people in.
Yeah.
Yes, we know.
Importantly, the cricket's back on, so that's true. That's a plus.
Oh, I better put my other headphone excited. I take it out for the adverts.
Yeah. So we've got Rashid Khan bowling to Virat Kohli and Glenn Maxwell. That's a pretty good, if you want to do a sort of all-star roundup of world cricket, that's a pretty good combination here.
You're obsessed with Maxie, aren't you?
I
mean, genuinely obsessed.
You and deep
Adam.
love.
Yeah.
He does things no one else can do. The philosophy of Maxwell ball is that you never know what might happen, and as much as you think you can predict it, you probably can't. At the moment, he's 9 off 16 balls. Who would have predicted that for a super aggressive player coming in at number 4? Nobody. But also what might happen next? Something completely inconsistent with someone being 9 off 16 balls. He could be out in a very funny way. He could hit the next 4 for 6. We just don't know. No one ever knows. So that's the point we're at the moment. Has he got the strike?
Yeah, and actually, I mean, there's no better noise to accompany Maxie going completely nuts than Danny Morrison trying to find more and more superlatives. GM with the big M overstand him into row him here in Chennai.
Just desperately searching, books of 1920s slang, trying to come up with words that no one's used for something yet. Yep. for a very long time.
Yeah. Oh, he's on strike now. This is very exciting. And
he's got
to go after him. He has gone after him. That's gone. You're right.
Oh, hello. Goodbye. Yeah. There we go. That's what we want to see.
Dare I say it? Has the blue touch paper been lit, Geoff?
Oh.
Is it blue? Why is it blue anyway?
Probably so you know which one to light. You don't want to light the wrong paper.
What is touch paper?
Touch paper is the ignition paper that goes into explosives. Yeah, and dynamite, TNT.
Okay.
Oh, now he's just followed it up by bashing 4 through the off.
You're happy now? 19 off 18. It was 9 off. It was 9 off 16, and everyone. I was getting on his back. I was demanding that he be dropped.
Mike Hesson looks like a graphic designer.
He does, doesn't he?
At the moment.
Yeah, has he always looked like that? Oh, he's gone again. He's gone again. Oh, I think it's gone all the way again. It has. Oh, this is okay. Here we go. 6-4-6. This is the problem with a watch along, because right now, I love you dearly, Geoff, but all I want to do is gaze at him.
No, you're very welcome to. This is like the beauty of the watch along, I think, is that we don't have to be talking all the time. We can just be watching Glenn Maxwell. People who maybe 2 minutes ahead of us have just been watching Glenn Maxwell, but then they can watch us watching Glenn Maxwell. And it's like those videos where it's like, here's an 18-year-old listening to Phil Collins for the first time, and here's their response. Yorker.
Yeah.
You don't often get yorked by the left-arm orthodox, but...
well, Nadeem has just conceded 1 run fewer in the first 4 balls this over than he conceded the entirety of his previous 3 overs, which I like. He had none for 16 coming into this over, and I think Maxie considered that to be an affront to cricketing statistical rightness, didn't he?
Yep, and I'm kind of relieved that he's off strike now, because now he's not going to try for the third 6 in the over and hole out. He'll just leave it to Virat to smack one down the ground for 4. I love that one-legged thing that Kohli does. The back foot flamingo kick.
Yeah, isn't it lovely? Isn't it? I used to do that by accident, and it just got me off balance. But he does it to perfection. Before that ball, by the way, he had faced 1 ball more than Glenn Maxwell and had scored 2 runs fewer. So
interesting.
There was I thinking that Maxwell was going too slowly, and within the space of 3 minutes, he's overtaken Kohli's strike rate, and he still has, actually. You're right. It's an extraordinary world that we live in. What a time to be alive. When Glenn Maxwell's on strike.
That's the thing, It's all about possibility.
Yeah.
And we know that so many things are possible, but very rarely do we get so many divergent possibilities all crashing together at the one time. And that's what Glenn Maxwell does. He brings together diverse strands of possibility that should not belong together, and yet they are wound up together into a single thread.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Another
thing I'd like to ask while we've got some, because the thing is, what I'm doing here is I'm trying to tap the expertise of our watchers so that I can then use it in practical purposes, like, for my work. So on the printout of the team, it's got the names done vertically, and it's got, for Washington Sundar, it's put Sundar. And I thought that we were supposed to be calling him Washington, aren't we? Have I got that wrong?
There's a lot of inconsistency though around.
Well, maybe
how the naming conventions are employed. So I think you can find erroneous uses sometimes in places that should be authorities but aren't necessarily, like the back of players' shirts sometimes.
Well, don't you find that it's actually one of the things that's most petrifying about our job? I mean, our job is mostly not petrifying at all, but great fun. But getting someone's name casually wrong is an enormous problem. And I remember a few years back, Andile Petrosweo was playing for South Africa. And in the first game that he played, I was listening to our commentary team, and they were calling him Fella Quio constantly. And I saw a South African friend of mine had tweeted out, why is everybody getting his name wrong all the time? So I got in touch with her and said, so how do you pronounce his name? So she sent me a link to a YouTube video in which Andile Pelushwayo introduced himself as, my name is Andile Pelushwayo, or Pelushwayo. So I came in for the next game. So I was rotated off the first game, came in for the next game. And I said, guys, we've got to get this right, because it's disrespectful to the guy. We've got to get his name right. And they said, well, what is his name? And I said, well, it's this. So I got it up on the iPad, and the name is Andile Pelushwayo. The name is Andile Pelushwayo. And so there's, like, you can imagine now, there's Ed Smith, Simon Mann, me, Jonathan Agnew, all sat around this iPad, just like mumbling to ourselves, Andile Pelushwayo, Andile Pelushwayo, Andile Pelushwayo. Anyway, I was mentioning Andile Pelushwayo, and so we did the whole of that game calling him Andile Pelushwayo. And I mentioned him on commentary. The next game I was doing was, I think, a women's game, South Africa women against England women, with Nat Germanos, very fine commentator. And I mentioned Andile Pelushwayo, and she said, it's not Pelushwayo. I said, look, right, it is, okay.
I've done this.
I've done the research. I've done it properly. I've done due diligence. Look at this, right? And she said, oh, no, he's got a lisp. So basically, totally unwittingly, I had been mocking him for a whole game when I've been trying to do the opposite.
Not only getting it wrong, but getting it wrong in a way that made fun of him.
Exactly.
By calling him Steve Smith for the entire game.
Steve Smith, yeah, Jonathan Watt.
Smith.
Oh, no, Jesus. Man, that was bad. So look, sometimes I think, why do I try? But I've still got to try. I'm still going to try, even if I keep getting it wrong.
Can only try. Now, here's a message from Mansahaj Singh. saying, in a way that's hard to explain, Maxi doing well gives me more joy than anyone else. See, it's not just me.
No, I can understand
there are others
that.
out there.
For me, it's a toss-up between Adil Rashid and Joss Buttler. I get deeply happy because Adil Rashid's got such a lovely little smile on his face when he takes wickets. Just a little faint, and his eyebrows rise just a little bit. And with Joss, he does things that I find extraordinary, but I think the Indians have worked him out. One of the things I'm looking forward to seeing in this IPL is I've never spotted a consistent problem that Joss Buttler's had. I mean, every player has problems he get up. But the Indians have worked out that tuck him up, you try to hit the top of leg stump, which is an unusual tactic, but it's worked. If they've got him 4 times doing that, so I'll be interested to see in this IPL if word has got out and that's what they're going to try and target. We've not seen much of Max. He's not had the strike for a while. I'm disappointed.
Well, it's been some gentle singles here and there. End of an over. A question from Shanky. What do you prefer in a T20? A game where both teams score 200 plus or a game with a score around 160, 170?
I prefer the latter. If I think that the 160, 170 in the first innings was hard fought, hard got, I don't like a 160 on a good track where somebody's laboured and then they've collapsed at the end and they've left too many runs out there, because then I just think this game's not going to be of consequence. But I think on this pitch, a 160 against, because Hyderabad, I do like their batting lineup. So I think 160 we could be in for a thriller. I mean, I might have to drink through the whole of the second innings, by the way. Is that acceptable?
Yeah. No, I've been drinking through the first innings. So.
You've been drinking through the day. It's like, what time is it now? 1 a.m. for you?
Yeah, 1 a.m. 1 a.m. We're on the bus to 4 a.m. It's going to be good.
Hello. This could be the demise of Kohli. It's in the air.
Oh.
And it is.
Everyone else knows what's happened here. Oh, what a face plant. That's
it's a beauty, isn't
it? He's actually shaved his chin doing that. He won't have to have it shaved tonight. He's worn the whole thing off. Oh, it's extraordinary.
Virat Kohli's century drought continues. And now you see, this is an interesting question for people out there.
Yep.
He's got 33 off 29. Now, is it too early for us to say that is not what the doctor ordered? What you need?
I mean, you can't judge a pitch until both sides have batted on it, Daniel.
I know.
But it does seem it was a little lacking in intent. I suppose he tried a few big shots and missed. He had the big fresh air shot when he came down the wicket before.
He's absolutely larruped his bat on the boundary spot and show on the way out in furious rage. But
now we've got the AB Maxwell combination. The best of both worlds, if you will.
Well, if you were going to heaven forbid, but let's say you drop down dead tomorrow and there really was a heaven and you went there in strangely corporeal form and you got met the gates and they said, welcome to heaven. First day, you get to have a special treat. It would be de Villiers and Maxwell back together, wouldn't it? I mean, what's happened here is that you have not literally died and gone to heaven. You have lived and gone to your heaven, which is how you'd actually want to do it. I'd suggest. Get a little taste of real life first.
As far as combinations go,
just see this.
Just watching the replay here of the
catch, isn't it?
Oh, it's an outstanding catch. It's a very uncomfortable catch. It's a chiropractor's catch. It's like that Colombian goalkeeper, doing the scorpion kick.
Rene Higuita. Yeah. It's very similar to that. Now then, what I would love most of all here, though, is for AB to overtake Maxi before the end of the innings, with them both there at the end. 19 ball.
What about 50? Before the end of the over? That'd be something.
It's not inconceivable. How many overs has Rashid Khan got left, by the way? Have they kept some back?
I think he only bowled 2, didn't he?
Adam's been in touch, by the way, on WhatsApp. Can you send in the Zoom link?
Yeah, sure.
They'll be very excited to find that I am masquerading as him on this Zoom call.
Hit me up with the Zoom link. All right, I can do that.
That sounds like Colin.
How do I invite him to? I'll find the one I sent to you. How about that? This is very exciting for everybody.
Shall I forward him the email? I'll just forward him the email. You keep watching, and I'll forward him the email.
If you've got it handy, because I'm keeping an eye on the reader comments.
Oh yes, of course. Oh hello. One of the things I love in IPL commentary is just how expressive Mark Nicholas gets when he's slightly worried that it might be out.
Yeah.
Nowhere near.
That was a real 3 a.m. sort of sound from Mark Nicholas. That could have been, if you heard that coming through the wall, you wouldn't have any questions about. You wouldn't think, I bet AB de Villiers just nearly nicked one.
No, you wouldn't think that. Yeah. That's
92 for 3. All right. Jason Holder is a bloody enormous.
He's but he's got a very small head for a man who's that big.
Yeah.
I had the singular privilege the night before the West Indies was supposed to go home. So these poor buggers, they'd been in England for yonks. This was back last summer when everyone was in the bubbles. And I didn't mind the bubbles because I was going in and out. But for people who are in them for like 8 weeks, it gets you down, And Old Trafford, they're just stuck at the ground. You can't leave it. There's a gate. Just walk round the ground. That's all you can get to do there for 8 weeks, pretty much. And the night before they were supposed to be leaving, he came down and had a chat with the TMS team that was still there. And he was absolutely riveting. I mean, properly fascinating about world cricket and the failure of world cricket to support countries with less money. I was going to say smaller countries. They're not always smaller, are they? But Sri Lanka, West Indies, South Africa, New Zealand. His kind of idea of how it could be done. He's such a credible and fascinating guy. And also, he ticked us off for asking boring questions at the end of the day's play, which I loved. Yeah, because I think we always do ask really boring questions of players.
Absolutely.
So why can't you ask the interesting ones?
You've made this many runs. What do you think of that? Is that a good position?
Exactly. They're never going to say.
Would you like to try to win the Test match tomorrow? Yes, we'll probably try to win the Test match tomorrow. Yeah.
But basically, if Shane Watson can do an interview with Australia 8 down, needing 300 to win on the last day, and look you in the eye and say, well, if we get a good first hour and we can build on that, maybe get through to lunch, then you know that all of these conversations are bullshit. They are utter bullshit. We should be asking different questions, but the thing is, they don't really want those different questions. They just want to be able to take the quote and stick it on the website. Jason Holder is very pleased with the way his team played today, despite England finishing the day on 362 for 1.
I think AB de Villiers is shaving too close to his skin. He looks very raw. Looks very pink. Do
you think it's that, or do you think he's just only recently arrived or come out of quarantine, so the sun is kind of glaring on his rather peace and unprepared skin?
Maybe he's just got a bit chubbier around the neck. There's something. Oh, here we go. I'm just seeing the replay of Virat Kohli walking off the field and smashing a piece of plastic lawn furniture. Good stuff. I like that.
But yeah, you've got that now. Yeah?
You got to smash some lawn furniture, don't you?
Oh, hello.
Oh, de Villiers is out.
No. Oh, no.
Sorry, buddy.
1 off 4. Oh,
1 off 4.
1 off 5. What a 5. Dear me.
Strike rate of 20. He's the Chris Tavares of RCB.
World class wickets, says the commentator. World class wickets. Let me just tell Colin that I've emailed him the link. Sorry, this is very casual and informal, isn't it?
Yeah, see, I thought he would have been listening.
Well, he's just sent me a picture of Winnie, who looks like, she's not happy. She's not a happy Winnie.
Oh, she's not happy at all. Poor little thing.
Oh, her little eyes are all red and raw as well, like AB de Villiers' skin. Oh, that's the other thing. How do you handle birthdays? Do you, by which I mean...
Oh, here we go. He's in the waiting room. I didn't let him in.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. We did it.
Colo.
We made it.
Hello. How you doing? How's Winnie? Not great. Oh, no. You can't hear him.
He's there. We're there. We're here. All right. 95 for 4. Washington in.
Hello.
We've been getting correspondence from people about Washington saying that basically since all the Indian players call him Washington, that's what the commentary should default to, which seems to make sense to me.
It makes sense to me, but they put Sundar up on the screen, haven't they?
They have.
You read
it's
me?
Shorter.
We can hear you, baby.
Beautiful. Is this coming through as it should do, Geoff?
Yeah, you're in. You're in the chat.
Delightful. I've handballed Winnie off to Mum for 5 minutes, so I could talk to you, and might bring her in after that.
Well,
but
we heard her.
She's making herself heard. I thought while Maxie's batting and doing so nicely, I should come and say hi. Hello. Happy birthday, Daniel. I love you.
Thank you very much. I was just asking Geoff, now you're here, I'll ask you too. People are very nice and they send you these nice messages of happy birthday. And I've yet to work out, do I ignore all of them until 1 minute to midnight and then send out a blanket WhatsApp, /Facebook, /tweet? Or does that make you feel like you're being a bit of a git? And you should probably go.
I'm afraid there's an etiquette to these things, isn't it? It's birthday admin management when it comes to social media. You've got to go through and say to each person that's wished you well, thank you for wishing me well. I look forward to seeing you soon. And you can't use the same formulation. You can't go copy paste the whole way through.
No.
There's got to be, thanks, Geoff. Cheers, mate. Great to hear from you. Looking forward to seeing you again soon. Much love, kiss, hug.
Yep.
And
okay, if there's anybody out there,
the next person.
if there's anybody out there watching this who wants a job for 1 day a year, I'll give them 500 quid. Just take over all of my communications and I will go. The best birthday I ever had, I went to a tapas bar in Pimlico. And Catherine said, what do you want to do for your birthday? I said, love, you go to work. I've got my day mapped out. I arrived in the tapas bar at 11:30. I had one dish every hour for 7 hours and read a book. It was heaven on my own. And then at one point, and get this is the best bit of it, I overheard a conversation between two rather dodgy looking individuals talking about a greyhound in a race. And they got this tip for this greyhound. And so I nipped to the bookies, which was 5 minutes away, put like 20 quid on this greyhound. It came in at like 6 to 1 and it paid for all of my food and drink for the day. It was the best day I've ever had in my life.
Which birthday do you think it was? How many years ago?
It was my 30th birthday.
22 years ago. So what year would have that been? It would have been
1999.
1999.
Yeah.
Party like it's 1999.
On your own in a tapas bar.
The start of the World Cup summer of 1999. The start of the summer where England went to the bottom of the world in Test rankings.
It was, yeah. There was also, that tapas bar was famous because it was a place where a former Conservative minister called Michael Portillo had plotted with somebody else to overthrow John Major in about 1993, 94. It was known as Tapas Gate, as you can imagine. And it was that tapas bar. It's a very traditional Spanish one in Pimlico. It's lovely.
I think that did that not feature in Drop the Dead Donkey at some stage? I think it might have. Yeah.
So. Anyway, how have you been, Adam? We've missed it.
Well, I'm sick. I'm coughing and spluttering around because Winnie's doing likewise. But that's okay. It's all part of it. She's been in nursery for, I think, 4 or 5 days. And, that being a petri dish, as they say. So it's okay. But it's a juggling act. So it's very kind of you to step in at the last minute. And
it's a joy. I'm getting to watch Glenn Maxwell bat on an incredibly difficult pitch against a very, very good bowling attack. It's quite fascinating.
It feels like, and Glenn, when he talked to us last week, Geoff, it feels like he's just bang up for it this year. And not to say he wouldn't be in other years, but just the way these things flow. Oh, look, I'm getting a little delivery. Do you want to come over and see me for a little sec, darling?
Ooh.
Sorry. Oh, you've got to give it to me. Okay. I'm taking Winnie because that's what needs to happen because Rachel's got to go to a work call. This may not last long. My darling girl.
Oh, Winnie. Oh, Winnie.
Okay, this has been very nice, fellas. Thank you to, again, Norky. I'll see you in the comments. Love you all. Oh, dear.
Winnie.
Bye.
Oh, Winnie. Oh, Winnie.
Bye.
Oh, she waved. She's
I love you so much.
you're still waving.
Oh, my God.
Gorgeous.
Isn't she?
Still.
Well, we've just seen, by the way, a rather spectacular drop catch, which I suppose we should mention.
Yeah, we have.
By the keeper. Quite liked it. I'm not sure that it was as great an effort as the commentators made out it was. I think he might have held on to that. He had to move a little bit the opposite direction, but
he dived too far across it.
He did.
Ended up putting in a dive when it wasn't really needed. So where are we? We've got 15.
5 overs left. I reckon they're going to struggle to get 160 here. This is it's going a similar pattern actually to yesterday's game where you could score runs at the top of the order. I was fascinated by the different ways those two teams approached it yesterday, with Kolkata going for spin for the first 10 overs and then seam, and Mumbai going like the opposite way, which was which intrigued me. I think whatever it is, I think we discovered that you're only going to score runs on this pitch against a new ball.
I've got to get a fresh drink, Daniel. So I'll be back in a minute.
Shall I stay then?
Well, you stay, and then I'll go, and then you'll go, and I'll stay. Well, we'll relay it. We'll pass the baton.
Yeah, I might even do some commentary. I quite enjoy it. Here's Rashid Khan skipping in from 2 paces. Oh, that's a lovely dipping Yorker. Washington could do nothing more with it than clink it into his foot, and it rolls back down the wicket. I have to start Royals tomorrow. They are my team, I've got to say. And I know this might cause furore if you're watching, but they are. Oh, the googly. He's got them all out. 1 for 15 off 3.2, Rashid Khan. I know everybody watching this probably knows what happens to the remaining balls in this spell, but I'd love to see another wicket now. That put RCB in all sorts of trouble. Not that I'm anti-RCB. I want to make that absolutely clear. I just think this might be really quite low scoring today. Feels harder to bat even than yesterday. 4 for 4, 27 balls. Yesterday, they were the last 5 overs. Second innings next to nothing. The first innings, not many, because Russell picked up those 5. So they might only get another 40-odd runs here, if that. Actually, what am I talking about 35. Oh, yes. This is terrific stuff. 1 for 16, for 17, 2 balls left. 4 overs after that. Very strong sense and I'm burbling just to myself. It's quite weird. Oh, Geoff's back. I haven't seen all of his hair. Hello. This ought to be caught. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. What a catch that is.
Oh, smooth, elegant, professional.
That is a beautiful catch. Rashid Khan's second wicket. He's about to go for under 20 in this 4 overs again.
Oh,
Washington's
rude.
out.
He's so rude.
Max is still there.
The recent stuff with Rashid Khan bowling more overs in one test match than he did in a whole IPL season.
I loved that. That was my favourite stat.
And then coming back to bowl like this. I mean, he's just a gift. He's an absolute gift to cricket from.
Well, I reckon he got paid about 1,500 quid for bowling those 99 overs. And he gets paid about
£1 per over
for bowling 68 things before. I know, I understand that that's not how it works and that there's all the training in the whatever. And I get it. But it just struck me as an amusing stat. 2.5 minute timeout.
Oh, good. I'm glad that I took a break just before the timeout.
Yeah, you didn't time that.
It's really smart.
I might go get myself some wine if you're timeout. Actually, I might have a G&T. It's my birthday.
Yeah.
G&T. Right. And I might remind Catherine that she needs to buy some more wine because we've only got 2 bottles left and I intend to get through at least that this evening. Myself.
I've
got to remember I've got 2 sets of headphones in. I've got to
you end up trailing some piece of equipment down the hallway. Yes. Well, now it's good to see that Daniel has confused many people by saying that he's Adam Collins, which which indeed is not. What is the score, Lakshmi? Well, the score is whatever it was at the strategic timeout. I wasn't actually paying attention to that. It's 105 for 5, the score where we are. Gaurav, the gentleman with us today is Daniel Norcross, who is a cricket commentator for the BBC and is kindly joining us because Adam's little girl is sick and Adam is taking care of her and she is yelling and screaming and crying a lot, and it's not really conducive for good broadcasting. So we made an executive decision that Adam would mostly sit out today. He paid us a brief visit before. He may be back later. Who knows? But Daniel has filled the breach because we'd already told people we were going to do this broadcast. And we wanted to make sure that there was something, for people to something on so that people had somebody to hang out with while they watched the game today. That is the answer to that question. Getting a few other questions coming through. Shirang asks, do we agree with such pitches in T20 cricket? Well, I suppose it's about the variety of skills, isn't it? Not every T20 game has to be about 220 chasing 220. We've seen these sort of pitches in world tournaments. The T20 World Cup in India in 2016 had a number of pitches like this. The New Zealand-India game, the Sri Lanka-New Zealand game when Ranganaherath bowled them out. There were a number of matches where low totals were defended and spin played a really big part. So I guess players need to be able to adapt to different conditions the same as they do in Test cricket where, we're less inclined to question that. We're back on for play with one ball left in the over. Interesting. So I didn't realise that you could actually take the strategic timeout mid-over. We're all learning new things.
Oh.
KV asking where I am. I'm in Melbourne. Daniel is in London. He's about to rejoin us once he works out how to plug all of his things back in. So...
Sorry, I should have plugged you in first.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. Here you are.
Oh.
So I didn't realise until just now that you can take the strategic timeout mid-over.
Well, no, so a wicket had fallen. So you can take it at the fall of a wicket. I don't think you can take it mid-over.
Just randomly mid-over.
No, I think you should be able to. By the way, can I just say, I don't normally give unnecessary plaudits to Australians, but I was thoroughly impressed by the innovations that came into the Big Bash this year. I love the Bash Boost. One of my favourite things. Mm-hmm. I didn't mind the substitution, actually. I thought I was going to hate it, but I didn't mind it. It was occasionally used, interestingly. And what was the other one you had? Oh, I tell you what I loved. Yeah, the surge.
The floating power play, as it were.
I thought that was genius. I think that I would like to see that happen in the IPL, I've got to say. I loved it. And I didn't expect to love it, but I did.
It was strategically important in a number of matches where, it was all about bowling teams having to hold back a player, having to hold back a bowler who might be needed for that particular phase of the game and bringing them on at unexpected times. So, yeah, it did have some part to play. Yeah. I'd also need to point out that talking about great combos, we now have Glenn Maxwell batting with Dan Christian, which is... Dan Christian is not exciting in the same way, but he is lovable in a different way. It
was one of the most highly paid players in the IPL not that long ago. You got to get 800 grand about 7 or 8 years ago.
But it'd be hard to think of a player in Australia who's more respected than Dan Christian. He's
more
got
so
gravitas.
Even than George Bailey.
I reckon more so than Smiling George.
I love George Bailey. Partly because
he's a good egg.
We always have in mind, It's a Wonderful Life. There's a lot of talk about a man named George Bailey. Was it?
I like the fact that that he holds a world record despite a very short Test career. That's nice.
Oh, what's his world record? Tell me.
The most runs off an over in Test cricket.
How many runs did he get now over in Test cricket?
28 off James Anderson at the Wacker. He equaled
Yes,
Lara's
of course
record.
He did, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he didn't seem like the kind of guy who'd hit 28 runs in an over, did he? No, just another wicket.
Well, he did if you'd watched
gone.
him in 50 over cricket.
Yeah,
Dan Christian's reviewing it, so he doesn't think he's hit it.
Yeah, well, what could that be? But bat on ground? I heard something. Could be in bat scraping ground, I guess.
Mm.
They've only got the one.
Well, people already know what's happened with this.
Oh, that's very close to
this
bat.
DRS.
That looks very close. That might be the tiniest little feather, I'm guessing. That he thinks he can't feel. Yes.
It does amuse me.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it.
It does amuse me just for how many decades and decades we were told a batsman always knows if he's hit it. You always know when you've hit the ball. No, you always know the times when you hit the ball when you knew that you'd hit the ball.
You knew you'd hit the ball.
All of the other times when you had hit the ball but didn't think you'd hit the ball, you thought that you knew that you hadn't hit the ball, although you had actually hit the ball.
Exactly.
So
they can't understand that, can they? They can't.
No.
And they absolutely refuse to believe it. And actually, the higher up the echelons of the game you get, the more absolutely convinced they are by their own infallibility.
Despite the now mountain of evidence of players challenging at times when they've hit it or not sending it upstairs when they've edged an LBW. Yep. Clearly, you do not always know when you've hit the ball. Clearly, you don't even know when you've hit the ball necessarily an overwhelming percentage of the time. Maybe one time in 10, you don't know that you've hit the ball.
Well, it works the other way around as well.
But you still hit the ball.
Because I think Josh Butler might actually have got out, caught behind, with reviews, went to talk to his partner and walked off.
Yeah.
And when they showed the replay, he hadn't hit it.
Yeah.
so he even thought he'd hit it. Maybe he's just such a genius that when his bat gets within about 2 millimeters of the ball, it instantly registers that as the air rushes past. He's got such sensitive hands and sensitive eyes.
Yeah. Well, even before DRS, there was the Adam Gilchrist dismissal against Sri Lanka, I think, in a one-day game where he drove at a ball that turned out of the rough, and it turned so far it ended up in the hands of first slip. And he turned around and saw first slip had taken it and walked off because he thought he must have edged it, but he didn't hit it. The replay showed clear gap, like a sizable gap. And I think his bat had clipped the ground a bit and the ball had turned a long way out of the rough. And he was like, oh, well, nicked it straight to first slip. Off I go, and walked. So you always know when you've hit it.
You might have just wanted to get out of there. I mean, I've known a few cricketers who have admitted to me that, they have walked for edges off Malcolm Marshall and Sylvester Clarke rather than face another ball. They're going like, that was the one ball I got in my area. I missed it. I'm leaving. I'm out. Whatever. No one's appealed. Doesn't matter.
I think Adam Gilchrist versus a Sri Lankan spinner is a slightly different equation to that.
That is a very different equation. Yeah, that's a very different equation. But you know what I mean. It could happen. They're in all sorts of bother here, aren't they? RCB. All sorts of bother. Yeah. Because however hard a pitch is, if you don't have to go at over 6, although I say that, Kolkata didn't need to go at over 6, really. Well, they had to go about 6 yesterday, and they still managed to make a right pig's ear of it. But look, they've only got 3 overs left. If they get to 135, I'd be surprised. They can just knock it about here, surely.
Well, it's going to require a magic Maxwell over, which seems difficult. But yeah, Bhuvneshwar's going to bowl cutters, dig it into the pitch. People are very amused that we keep making predictions, even though they're 3 minutes ahead of us and they already know what's happening.
Yeah. I suppose that's probably the entertainment value, isn't it? Watching people being wrong and knowing they were wrong because you're 3 minutes ahead.
Yep.
Yeah. I'd watch this, actually.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch you and Kohli do it, and I'm going to laugh my head off.
Well, Kyle Jamieson's hit a boundary, so that's one thing. This giant stick insect of a player. He looked so bad in the Australia-New Zealand T20s he bowled absolute shit, just every match. He had the yips. He was bowling way either side of the wicket, then jamming in really short balls, then bowling full tosses. Horrible. And you were like, okay, RCB's just paid like a couple of $1 million for this guy who is going. I don't think he had a game that went for less than about 40 off his 4 overs. But he didn't even get to 4 overs in some of the games. He kept getting dragged from the attack. So, and then he's bowled really nicely first up in the IPL. So now he's batting all right.
You call him a stick insect, and I think that's fair. But if he's a stick insect, what is Marco Jansen?
Maxi.
What's thinner? What is thinner than a stick insect?
Yeah, slender man.
Yeah, he really is a slender man. Oh, yeah, you're happy with that. This has been an abysmal
Maxi's just hit the gap. I love Maxi hitting the gap. That splitting the deep mid wicket long on gap. That's beautiful.
I know you love him, but you're sounding a little bit like an Indian TV commentator. He got a full toss at shin height, and he managed to find the right spot. The pitch was taken out of the equation, and it was beautiful for him. It was coming on at about 83 miles an hour, and it was going to go. So, firstly, what the hell's happened to Bhuvneshwar Kumar in this over? Because he bowled a terrible wide, filthy ball to Jameson right in the slot. Then he bowled a full toss on the pads, which he went up for a loud appeal, and it was going nowhere. And then he's bowled another one, full toss on the pads. I'm worried about Boovy here. He needs to get out of this over. Oh, another full toss. Not good. Not good.
Slock.
There's 15 runs off this over. 14 runs off this over.
That 130's coming up. But yeah, I've never seen Boovy bowling over this bad. It's actually
terrible, isn't it?
Yeah. He's barely hit the pitch throughout.
And
Kyle Jamieson,
wide and full.
He looks so uncomfortable just physically batting. When he leans over to tap his bat, he's got to go so far down.
Yeah, touch of the Joel Garners, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like he's going to throw his back out just from batting.
Yeah, I suppose that was the idea, was it? Trying to get the ball really full to him. The Yorker length delivery to the 6'8" stick insect is going to be, albeit quite a muscular stick insect, if you can imagine such a thing, is probably the effective delivery, isn't it?
Got a comment in here from Raphael saying, I like Kyle Jamieson, so obviously RCB will let him go and replace him with someone worse. That sounds like an English outlook on the world.
That's somebody who's been supporting RCB for a long time, isn't
it? Too long.
I quite like the look of their lineup this year. I don't know whether I'm being deceived by their opening game.
Right.
I kind of like...
On our timeline, we've got Natarajan coming up.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, full in the block hole. Nicely dug out by Maxwell.
Oh, gorgeous.
Yeah, impressive. So it's going to be 6 Yorkers here from Natarajan. This will test the Yorker theory. Is the Yorker the ball bowled at 6'7" Well, since Natarajan bowls almost nothing but Yorkers in his last over as a general, which I like. Big fan.
Well, it's the ball to bowl if you're really good at bowling them,
isn't it? Yeah.
And if you're not, you'll go for about 20 off the over because you'll end up bowling a couple of half volleys and a couple of full tosses.
Full tosses, yeah.
That's
an epic headband as well, by the way.
I love that.
I like a thick headband. I mean, when I was younger, I used to like the John McEnroe headband. I'll give you that. But I've grown into loving the thick headband. It gives you that look of, what's that sort of cartoon character?
I like big headbands and I cannot lie.
There you go. That was the ball you were referring to, wasn't it? The wide half volley. He's bowled the wide half volley, but Jameson has not found the boundary.
Well, look, if you're bowling to Kyle Jamieson, you probably shouldn't be conceding too many. Like, yeah, he's really tall, and yeah, he can have a golf swing and might clatter a couple, but still, Maxi on strike.
You're a harsh man. You are, Lemon. You are a harsh man.
I mean, look, he's a giant bowler. He's not there to do batting.
But they
played him at 7 the other night. Yeah.
That was probably
but he's not a 7.
He's not a 7, no. No, he doesn't feel like a 7.
Adam Gilchrist was a 7. Admittedly, he was the best 7 ever, but he was
yeah. Yeah, he's a bit of a shanker, isn't he? He basically is going for the big booming drive every time. I'd like to see them try a short one at him. Can he pull?
I don't think you could get up there.
No,
How are you supposed to get it up that high? Everything's a drive. If you're Kyle Jamieson, you can drive anything.
There's a truth to that. There's a truth to that. It's like 2 meter Peter. Whatever happened to 2 meter Peter?
Which one? We were discussing this on the. Adam and I discussed this on the show a few weeks ago. That how many 2 meter Peters there were, because there were at least half a dozen we could come up with.
Really?
Off the top of our heads, yeah. Anyone tall named Peter, that's it.
Wasn't there
we had Peter George.
Australian Peter George, that's the one I meant. Left armour, tall left armour, rangy. Yeah.
Peter Crouch.
Peter Crouch, 2 meter Peter. Yep.
Another one, 2 meter Peter. Yep.
St. Peter.
Yep, massive, absolute massive dude. Oh, Maxie, you rude man.
Happy now?
That's what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah, reverse lap shot through fine third man. No worries. Can do. Coming right up.
Perfect shot for the Yorker, isn't it? Perfect shot for the Yorker.
Perfect shot for the left armour. Oh. The left arm Yorker almost in the slot. Like almost in the block hole, rather.
Well, you're almost in the block hole. If he hadn't played
short.
that shot, that would have been awkward, I think.
Yep.
That length up an awkward full length.
Just wasn't quite full enough.
Just
erred a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Same again? No, now that's a beauty. What a response. I like Natarajan. I mean, don't get me wrong. He very much looks to me like not a cricketer. There's something about the pattern of his baldness and his height that makes him feel like he does another job.
It's just the time travel thing when you look at a young man who looks like a middle-aged man, and it throws you off when, it's confusing when.
How would we cope if somebody like David Steele arrived today playing in the IPL? You know what I mean? That would be quite the ask, wouldn't it?
David Steele in the IPL. Extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. Mind you, players can surprise you. Ed Cowan played a really good Big Bash season at one point where he was opening or batting 3 for the Sydney Sixers and he was scoring quickly. You thought, I didn't know you could do that, but there you are.
Everybody loves Ed Cowan, don't they? I mean, isn't he
difficult not to?
It's impossible not to. He just seems so lovely and yet so vulnerable. Do you know what I mean? Which is what is very attractive about people, isn't it? Vulnerability. I find it attractive. I find
for some people it makes other people angry.
Yeah.
There's definitely a subset of these sort of former New South Wales cricketers who do not like him at all because too smart, wrote books.
Too smart, according to the prof.
What a prick. Yeah,
that
kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, you get that in broadly speaking, alpha male pursuits like sport then.
Now, you might understand this reference. I don't. Martin Blackburn says, Kyle Jamieson is the Kiwi Steve Patterson. Do you know who Steve Patterson is? Because I don't.
Oh, he's out now. Yeah, Steve Patterson. Steve Patterson. I'll tell you all about Steve Patterson.
Okay.
Steve Patterson is a bits and pieces dibbly-dobbly. I think it's a bit harsh to say that Jamieson is the Kiwi Patterson simply because I think he bowls a bit quicker than Patterson. But Patterson is a really brilliant county player, captain of Yorkshire, really irksome batter when you get them 6 down and he comes in, really annoying because he can actually bat, and really annoying because he can bowl a bit like Darren Stevens but about 7 miles an hour faster, so about 75.
Jack Chantry areas,
quite tall and quite thin. I mean, I could see it. I think he's on for something there.
Now, a message from Harry Chapman, re David Steele in the Big Bash. He points out that David Steele was very good against Australian pace bowlers.
Good point.
I'm trying to remember what the numbers were the other night. Riley Meredith and Jai Richardson went for something like 2 for 110 between them from 8 overs.
Wasn't great, was it?
So David Steele might have been useful in that situation. Might have taken them to the cleaners in the same way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that he scored particularly quickly. I mean, he was very good against them. He could hook. In fairness, he could hook.
That's all you need to do. Just everything over the top of the keeper. All right, 5
with
balls
the
to
big
go.
bats these days.
Maxi on strike.
There's 50. He's got 50.
Forehand down the
Oh,
ground.
no, he hasn't.
Yeah.
No, he's refused. He's refused the signal.
Turned it down.
Oh, brilliant.
All right.
Now,
we're in real Sanju Samson areas here.
He might as well, mightn't he? Because he has his ceiling here is 18 runs off the last 3 balls, isn't it? Whereas, 24 runs off the last 4 balls.
Yep.
Harshall's ceiling is probably about 7. Oh, hello. Oh, you've got to like that. Come back
rude.
for 2. Come back for 2. Yeah, back on strike.
Easy 2, but I thought that was carrying for 6 at first.
I did. Is these quite wide boundaries here? I saw the graphic yesterday. It's like 72 on either side.
It's been quite funny how you can tell that the commentators are calling it off the TV when they get really excited when the ball goes up and then less excited as it comes down and gets caught. Oh, he's got hold of that one to the man at deep mid-wicket. Yes.
Well, you and I have both done a lot of off-tube commentary, haven't we? And that is one of the great ones is when they hit it high in the air and straight. And you think, when you first did it, you went, oh, that's gone miles in the air into the hands of mid-off, just inside the circle. Wow. So you get like the hang of it and you go, it's gone aerial, it's in the air, it's still in the air, it hasn't got the distance, and it's and it's gone miles. So you kind of get a technique for it, don't you, Frank? In the air.
Oh, that actually has gone miles.
Go on.
Maxi,
says Danny Morrison. Maximum.
What's the Unacademy cracking 6? That's the one they keep rolling out. It sounds like a Netflix
what is an
show.
Unacademy? I mean, when I first saw it, I saw UN Academy. I thought that's a weird one. They're like got an academy for people joining the UN. Maybe they do. And then I thought Unacademy. That's like what? So this is nothing like an academy. It's more like a playgroup.
It sounds to me like I don't know, a place where people who learn to disappear go to learn their trade. You know, the Unacademy, where you go to unbecome.
Oh, like in Men in Black, where they lose their memory.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Peter Holton has let us know that Babar Azam has just got a century in the South Africa-Pakistan T20.
Has he? Babar Azam, who this week has gone above.
Right now.
Yeah, but who this week has gone above Virat Kohli in the ODI rankings. He's now number 1.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, this has cued an awful lot of people, mostly Pakistan fans, finding Indian fans on Twitter and finding tweets from 2 years ago where they said Babar Azam was as good as Virat Kohli, and then being rebuffed and then quote tweeting and saying, this hasn't aged well. So if you go on Twitter today, there's a Pakistan Twitter is basically lots and lots of people saying this hasn't aged well to Indians. Puerile, really. We just had another terrible drop catch, haven't we? There was a lot.
No, we saw a terrible throw.
I thought it went into his hands and he dropped it.
Oh.
Mind you, I'm an unreliable witness at this point because I'm looking up and down. Last ball. Oh no, another wide. Holder's falling apart here. Sorry, Geoff.
Well, he's not in as much as he did in the 2015 World Cup against AB de Villiers, when I'm pretty sure he had 2 for 38 off 8 overs, and he ended up with 2 for 100 and something off 10 overs.
No.
He went for 64 off his last 2 overs.
Wow.
He went for,
I'd completely forgotten that.
Yeah.
Wow.
64 runs from 12 balls.
Ooh. Big Nick. That's it. Mind you, he was bowling to AB de Villiers and not bowling to Glenn Maxwell. No, that's it. 149. 150 to win.
That's a lot more than we thought they were going to get.
Yeah. I'd say that's about...
competitive.
Yeah.
That was also a wide. If Maxi had left that one, that was another wide. That was well outside the tram tracks. Also, I like to think that Big Nick is a person, you know? Big Nick, here he comes. Here he comes, sack full of presents for the kids. Big Nick. Oh, struggles to get down the chimney these days, the big fella. Oh, he's...
It's funny you should say that. I have a very, very dear friend, one of my closest friends, who is known by all of his closest friends, including myself, as Fat Nick. Which is, it sounds pejorative and unpleasant, doesn't it, really? But it just stuck, basically, because he's quite big. Well, he's very big. And he's called Nick. And but we should have called him Big Nick.
Big Nick. Oh, Big Nick. He's gone. When he leaves the pub at the end of that, Big Nick, he's gone. He's
gone.
I've got an answer for you from Subamai Biswas, who says that Unacademy is an online education academy. A few years ago, it was a small startup, and now it is a massive company. As you can tell by the fact that it has sponsored sixes at the IPL.
That has got to be worth a bit, hasn't it? That probably is worth a bit.
None of this strategic timeout bullshit. No. We don't want you 2.5 minutes where nothing happens.
4 strategic timeouts, which everyone resents, versus an average of, I'm going to say
23 sixes.
Probably not per game. Probably about sort of 14. Don't you think? 7 aside, sort of thing, maybe.
But if you have, a big Chris Gale night or something, then
exactly. And it's associated with what people actually like. So it's an unacademy cracking six. Don't forget, it's always an unacademy cracking six. Whereas this is a see it pain in the arse timeout.
Yeah, this is the I don't want to see it again timeout. Yeah.
Then please don't give me slow motion shots with Lakman Shiva Ramakrishnan marveling at someone's
Mind you, completely forgot what I was going to say. It was good though.
It's late for Geoff, by the way, guys. It's very late for Geoff.
It is. It's 1:41 a.m. It's fine. But people do hate things being talked about in a way that's different to what they used to. So you remember how furious everybody was. A lot of them still are when sixes started being called maximums.
Oh, I am so furious because there's no such thing.
Yeah. Oh, and there's no such thing as a maximum because you could score infinity
in
runs
the laws of cricket
if you kept running.
I saw a 7 in the first year I really got into cricket in 1976. I saw I'll not get a 7. So don't come to me with your fucking maximums. I'm afraid. Sorry. But continue your point because I generally agree with you.
Well, it's just interesting that you were talking about positive associations. I wouldn't necessarily agree that there would be a positive association because when people want something to be called a six and then it's called something else, like a cracking sponsor's name six, then maybe they start hating that sponsor's name as well. So how angry everyone has been during the week about the people who run the 100. They're very clever at getting marketing by just drip feeding bits of information about things that people will hate about what they're going to do.
What's it called? What's called? It's sort of like fury baiting. Is it? There's a sort of term for it. Yeah, which is almost an acceptable form of marketing. But if you want to get something out there, get people really angry with it, which is a horrible. It didn't used to be that way. I mean, back in the 70s, you tried to make things seem fluffy and nice. Whereas this is a form of kind of maddening infuriation. Yeah, you're right. Do you think it'll work?
It reminds me of, now this is a little bit tangential, but before Steve Irwin died, he was parodied on South Park, and the version on South Park would go and find an animal and be like, oh, look, here's a zebra. I'm going to stick my thumb up its butthole. That'll really piss him off. And that was his tagline, was that'll really piss him off. And that's what I think about everything that's come out about the 100 is, look, here's a traditional cricket fan. I'm going to do this. That'll really piss him off. I'm going to arbitrarily change the name of one small thing to something else. That'll really piss him off. And, up goes the thumb, and it absolutely has worked. It has worked spot on every time.
Yeah, and it annoys me a bit though, because when the outs one was announced, it came out at the same time as the batters one, right? And I think that the batters one is an interesting one that we should actually, give a lot of credence to. Like I probably mentioned earlier, Ali Mitchell, Izzy Westbury, I work with, changed my mind about the term batter. So I thought it might be just a bit unnecessary about 4 or 5 years ago. And now I get it. I get the theory of it. And so when they brought out the announcement about batters and outs, what they did was create so much fury about the outs that the batters has brought out all the traditional batter. Batter is something that you put sausages in, make toast. No, batter is something that you fry fish in.
Oh, what
batter.
a funny line. Oh,
exactly. Like a
you
word.
can't have two words that mean different things when it's the same word in English. You can't have one word with two meanings.
Exactly.
We've never done that before, and we're not about to start now.
At exactly the same time as saying, how can you change wickets? Everybody knows that wicket has 4 different meanings. So they kind of undercut their own ridiculous pomposity. But I suppose you might say that in that case, it's a genius way of trolling the idiots. But the problem is that it leaves the people who aren't idiots, which I like to consider myself to be one of, frustratedly stuck in the middle. Because while I want to applaud one thing, I then forced to disavow it with the other thing, because outs, I'm afraid, is just daft. I'm not afraid. What am I saying? That sounds very pompous. Outs is nonsense. It's just nonsense. I mean, look, what am I going to say? That Matai Murugaran is Test cricket's leading out taker. No, he isn't. There are a whole load of actors who screw up a million more times and produce great outtakes than Matai Murugaran. So, you know, in England, we have a show with Harry Hill, which is all about outtakes. I can't talk about somebody as an outtaker. What does it even mean? I mean, it's just crazy. So obviously, I'm furious with rage about the out thing, although I'm not really that furious because I don't really care. Because once they start playing cricket, somebody bowls ball, somebody hits it, then we'll all get very excited about it. But they don't have to make it difficult. This is, I think you're right. It must be a deliberate ploy to identify everybody they think is old-fashioned in any way. It's like the front line of the culture wars. That's what we're dealing with here.
But more so, it's just make people talk about it. We are currently talking about it during the IPL. We're not right now, just at this particular instance, we're not talking about the IPL. We're talking about a competition that hasn't started yet.
But why do they need to do that now? I mean, look, no one's going to purchase. Well, I say no one. Some people are purchasing tickets, but a lot of people I know aren't purchasing tickets for the 100, not because they've got a moral and visceral objection to it, because we live in COVID land. And so we don't really know what's going to be happening in August, despite the fabled roadmap, which is irreversible, incidentally. It's presumably only irreversible if things go according to plan, which is like all things, really. I'm definitely doing this unless my plans change for reasons.
That's all. I am absolutely locked into this course of action unless I decide to change that course of action. Just quietly, there are still people who are annoyed at you calling yourself Adam Collins. So I just thought you'd like to know that's still working. They're like, that's not Adam Collins. I know what Adam Collins looks like. I know what a wicket is, and it's not an out. And I know what Adam Collins is, and that's not him. So they're still mad about that.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm prepared to make a compromise. You keep talking.
Well, I will keep talking because I will answer this question from James Hunt about gender neutrality, asking about the position of third man. We've already solved that one, James. That's been solved for about 5 years.
Oh, hang on. Sorry, what's that one?
About third man. That third man doesn't have to be third man. Generally, when commentating women's cricket, these days we'll refer to the position as short third in the circle or deep third in the boundary, down at the boundary. And I've just speaking personally, I've just found.
Have you got a hang of that?
I've just found I do the same thing in men's cricket now. It's just because it's an abbreviation in the same way that you can say short fine rather than short fine leg.
That's true.
Right, they've got a fielder at short fine, a fielder at short third. You can also then go to deep third rather than just third. Some people use third, but that sounds a bit odd to me because I don't. It's too vague. But deep third is on the rope. Short third.
I've got you. That's how you get around it, because that's always been my issue. Because if you say, there's as you go around the field, you've got 2 slips, gully, third, cover, extra cover, mid off. Sounds absurd.
Yep.
But 2 slips, gully, deep third, that works.
Mm-hmm.
Oh Christ! I'm so glad I did this.
Nailed it. Yeah, so this was worthwhile for you in the end.
Yeah. That's the best birthday present you could ever have given me, Geoff. I have genuinely thought, I can't do third because it doesn't sound right. And yet at the same time, I've known that if I'm very happy with the argument for batter, I should be able to be happy with the argument for third man. But I'd never found that I would be able practically to do it. Why did it never occur to me just to distinguish between short and deep?
And you can then throw in whether it's square or whether it's fine. They've got a
deep square,
a deep third who's set fine or whatever it might be.
Easy.
A note in for you, Daniel, from Captain Woody. Always good to hear from Captain Woody, who says that if Dan continues to pretend to be Adam, he has to babysit Winnie.
Well, I'm not anymore. Look at my screen.
Oh yeah. Oh. Good.
Well, I don't want to disavow just in case I might be Adam Collins, because you never be 100% sure. Once you've inhabited the role,
sure of anything.
Once you've inhabited the role for as long as I have this afternoon, then a little part of me becomes Adam Collins, and Adam Collins, being such an invasive virus type character across all cricket media, could very well have taken me over by now, but certainly by halfway through the next innings. So I'm not ruling anything out, hence the problem.
I've got a question on the actual match, which I suppose there's an argument that we should speak about. Given that RCB made 149, accordingly, Sunrisers have to chase 150. The question from Virender Singh says, do you think this score is defendable, given that the RCB spin department doesn't feel all that threatening? It's a slight undersell, isn't it? Because Yuzvendra Chahal is a remarkable bowler on his day. Washington Sundar's very useful. Glenn Maxwell can chip in with some spin.
Well, on this kind of pitch.
There are a few options here.
Well, this kind of pitch, actually, you can see a bit of Maxi all sorts, can't you?
You can see Maxi opening the bowling on this pitch.
Yesterday, Rohit Sharma nearly broke his ankle in his determination to bowl yesterday, because once they read the pitch, they realised they didn't have the right team. They had a Mumbai Indians team playing in Chennai, which, I feel a bit sorry for them, because people weren't expecting to have to play in neutral venues, which is another fascinating thing about this IPL. People like Tim Wigmore, Freddie Wild, Ben Jones, they'll all tell you that, the secret to creating a really good franchise is to make sure you've got a team that works on your home ground, because you play half your matches there. So if you can win 5 out of 7 or 6 out of 7, you're virtually home and host and into the playoffs. Right. But of course, playing on neutral venues, so Chennai have a team that's so clearly picked for Chennai. I mean, it's probably actually picked for Surrey over 60s versus Middlesex over 60s, because it is that old. But it's picked for that place, and they're not going to get to play there.
They're picked based on their enthusiasm for cement.
Yeah, big fans of cement. Yeah.
If they're into it, if they're giving cement as gifts to their family and loved ones, then then they're much more likely to be in. If their first couple of questions in the interview are about cement, it really cements their place in the team.
Here's a sculpture I had commissioned of you, made entirely from Indian cement. What else? Here is a serving spoon made of cement. Some soup dispensers.
A bust of N. Srinivasan made of India cement.
Oh dear. Sorry, we shouldn't make ourselves laugh. Anyway, yes, look, please keep the comments coming in, because we're already halfway through and we're already starting to fall apart with giggles. So we can probably do with being brought back on track. Do I think it's defendable? The answer is yes, I do, actually. I think this pitch has been devilishly difficult to bat on. What I expect to see, surface. Right? I'm going to make my prediction now, Geoff.
Okay.
First 6 overs, Hyderabad are going to cruise to 47 for 1. Okay. 47 for 1. And they're going to knock it around a little bit for the next 4 overs at around about 6 an over. And then they're going to find that they can't knock it around a bit quite as easily anymore. They're going to try and play some big shots, and they're going to lose wickets. And we're going to be in for a baffling tight finish. There you go. We're 3 minutes in. 3 minutes in. I say this, people are already 4 or 5 balls ahead. and Sunrisers are 0 for 2. For all I know.
Yeah, we are a little bit behind. I think this could be a real David Warner surface, though.
Do you?
As long as we're doing predictions. Yeah, because he loves the kind of chop behind backward point, grind it out, tick 1, tick 2, hit a gap, get back for 2. You know,
good point.
He's not a hitter anymore, and he quite likes these kind of grinded out surfaces. So could be a sort of, it could be a Warner 57 off 52 balls kind of innings that is the core and gets them home.
I'll tell you what, if we've got watchers who are able to do this, ordinarily, if I was on commentary now, I would just turn to Andy Zoltzman and say it. I'd go, can you tell me how many times David Warner hits a boundary after he hits a boundary in the last 4 years compared with the previous 8 years? Because my feeling is that last 4 years Warner is a 4 single man, whereas young Warner was 4. Oh yeah, 4. And then also I'd like put a caveat in there, and 4 followed by out. So how many times is he out after hitting a 4?
Yep.
Because that's usually
now versus before.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Mohammad Siraj is opening the bowling, so that could be the test, because Warner's been a bit vulnerable against quicker bowlers who move it in the air a bit.
That's why Sahar's taking the first ball, isn't it? He's hiding. Yeah. Warner's hiding here.
Down in the basement, periscope up.
Yeah, he won't be taking any quick singles in this over, you mark my words. He'll take quick 2s. He'll be all over the quick 2.
I want to do something here with Saha, take on me, but I'm not sure how I can make it work.
Yeah.
There's no direct path to that, but I just thought I'd let you know where my heart was.
Let's see if I can try and get you there. See if I can bring in any Norwegian references.
What's the name of the
Morten Harket?
Buster Newpen, the Norwegian off spinner who was shot through both knees.
What? I don't know this story.
No, Buster Newpen was he played for South Africa in the 20s and 30s,
right?
As an off spin bowler. He had one eye, and he had maybe it was in the Boer War. He'd gone to South Africa and
that would be the Boer War.
Shot through both knees.
Well, if he played in the 20s and 30s, then
it might have been a bit early.
It'd have been very.
It happened in South Africa anyway.
Right.
He lost an eye as a child when he banged 2 hammers together and a splinter of metal shot out and stabbed him in the eye, and he only had the sight in one eye. And then he was Norwegian. The family moved to South Africa.
Right.
And as a young man of about 20 or 21, in some sort of military engagement, he was shot through both legs. And then he went on to become a great off spinner who Jack Hobbs and Herbert Sutcliffe both rated as the most difficult off spinner they'd ever faced on a tricky surface. He bowled a lot on matting in South Africa.
There weren't a lot of off spinners in those days, weren't there? There were slow left armers and leggies as a general rule.
Yep.
So yeah. Okay. Yep. Because of course the LBW rule made it virtually impossible to be effective bowling off spin. And
he, when there was a sort of stodgy, wet kind of surface, he was said to be pretty much unplayable. I only played a handful of test matches, but he did play test matches. He took an absolute stack of first-class wickets as well. And he is, without doubt, the finest one-legged, one-eyed Norwegian off-spinner who have played for South Africa. Buster Newpen. Look him up.
Are you spelling Newpen? I sort of remember the name, but I can't remember precisely why. Are you spelling Newpen?
N-U-P-E-N.
N-U-P-E-N. Lovely. I'm all over it.
In the meantime, Siraj just about bowled an over, a maiden over. There are extras from it, but that still counts as maiden.
Oh, my word. That swung a mile.
Yeah,
was that
absolutely
biased?
swerved.
Was that honestly biased?
Mm-hmm.
Good grief. That's ridiculous.
Yep, it's gone over off stump and beaten the keeper down the leg side.
There is no way De Villiers could go anywhere near that. I mean, although he's not technically a great keeper, is he? He doesn't move his feet. He does a little bit like Dhoni, There's a little bit of like kind of table football the way he goes. So he kind of like leans one way or leans the other.
He's like a man on a tram.
Yeah. Whereas, you look at, say, someone like Sahar, for example, he's like on his feet. He's at bed folks, people like that. They've got like the weight distribution means they can dart one way or the other rather than sort of just fall and rely on their hands. Jameson's at the attack, I see. Okay, so are we going to get yippee-ki-yay motherfucker Jameson or not?
My feed's just frozen. So oh, no,
okay.
Here we go.
Well,
that was very, very wide.
Oh, I haven't seen that wide.
Okay, that was how he was bowling in the Australia-New Zealand series. Absolute yips. Absolute yips.
Here we go. Oh, that's on the money. Have you seen the next ball?
No, I haven't.
Oh, sorry, I have. Shall I try and pause for you?
No, I'll catch up because I've got room to catch up.
Okay, you're making the buzzing noise again. I think it's every time you do anything with your feed that's causing the issue.
Oh, is it when I touch the other computer?
Yes, that's it.
There we go. I've worked it out. I'll stop touching the other computer.
Yeah, and now it's gone.
Now it's gone.
That's better.
Yeah, so I have a really dodgy old laptop that gives me mild electric shocks when I touch it, because clearly there's a lot of current running through the aluminium frame that shouldn't be. And so that must be it, that I become electrified when I touch it. And because I'm also touching this microphone, that becomes electrified as well. And then it creates a buzzing sound.
Look, Geoff, right, I've had to have these kind of conversations with myself as well. I know both of us don't like spending money unnecessarily on things that aren't fun. Yep. And a laptop is not a fun thing. If you've got one, why do you want another one? You just want the one you've got to work. I get that. Right? If it is electrocuting you every time you use it, I really think you do need to think about upgrading to one that it hasn't killed you so far, and I'm not going to get ready. It probably won't.
Are you up to over 1.3 at the moment?
I am, but it might burn your house down.
Yep.
So don't let your house be burned down.
No.
Just because
I've got Jameson coming into bowl 1.4.
I haven't got him there yet.
There he goes. And Warner just played a cut shot.
Okay, I'll tell you, he's not there yet. He's at the top of his mark now.
Oh, okay. Now I've gone ahead of you.
You've gone way ahead of me. He's come charging in.
Bit.
Jameson, right arm over the wicket. It's wide, cut beautifully, square, bisecting the fielders at backward point and sort of cover, really.
We're close enough.
Nicely fielded for a couple of runs.
So I will answer the question from Abhinandan asking what the local time is. It is 2 minutes past 2 a.m. Abhinandan, where I am, and where Daniel is, it's 9 hours before that, which is, I can't do arithmetic. 7 hours before midnight. 2 minutes past 5.
That's good. It's wonderful listening to how your mathematical brain was working through the mathematics there.
Yeah.
It's 7 hours
had
before
to work
midnight.
all the way back. 7 hours before midnight, that's the best I can tell you.
Anyway, the reason I was talking about your computer is that you are a best-selling author. You must surely have got just enough, roughly, saved up. There you go, the comeback summer. Not to mention Steve Smith's Men, which has pride of place in my cricket library, and I take it out.
Yeah, it's on the shelf back here.
I am enormously proud of the fact that you were kind enough to actually quote me on occasion in that book. So, when I'm feeling particularly pompous and pleased with myself, I get the. You see, Geoff may have won for it, but without these quotes, he was nothing.
I think your greatest contribution to our creative work was your quote about Titch Freeman punching somebody's horse on the Final Word documentary, which watchers can find elsewhere on the feed if you look back through our videos. I think it's the first thing we ever posted up here. But I should clarify, I do have a proper computer which I'm speaking to you on. And I'm watching the match on another one because I've got you on one screen and I've got the game on on dodgy old computer that electrocutes me. So that's why I think so.
Oh, I'm feeling more comfortable now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's better. Sorry, I thought you were watching on the TV, you see, and you were able just to pause it. Had you not thought of that?
Well, no, because it's not on the television.
It's not on the telly in Australia.
It's on pay TV.
Right.
Which you need a box and cables and stuff for, and we don't really bother doing that anymore. We just stream everything. So
no, makes absolute total sense. Yeah. So you've bypassed paying for this product by just dragging it down off the internet, destroying people's lives.
Look out, Daniel! I've got a klaxon warning for you, which is that Messi Jez has logged on to the chat. Uh-oh. It's all downhill from here. Now, once Messi gets involved, hello, mate. Good to see you.
Hello, Messi Jez. I love Messi Jez. Does he live in Perth?
Yes, Perth.
Do you know, I haven't been listening to any of the commentary the whole of this time because I was listening to you.
I'm getting a sense, Daniel, that from the chat, I think there might be a wicket coming up soon. I don't want to mess with our divergent timelines.
Okay, well, I've got Siraj coming into bowl.
Yep.
Right, there's a slip in.
Me too.
Interestingly.
Well, that was a dot ball. We're obviously a long way behind.
And now it's a dot ball. There we go. So you're a little bit ahead of me.
Okay.
I'm streaming mine using, for those of you who can get it, who are customers of Sky Sports, I'm getting it through my Sky Go app on my iPad. I can't show it to you, of course, because that would be contravening copyright.
Yes, it would.
Geoff and I have learnt about these things through bitter recriminatory conversations with various cricketing boards.
There's the wicket.
Oh,
backward point.
There's the wicket. Backward point.
Maxie's taken the catch.
Hey!
Can't keep him out of the game. Yeah, can't keep him out of the game, Glenn Maxwell. Getting some fire emojis in the chat.
Yeah. Mark loves Maxie, don't you find? Mark's
not as much as some.
Oh no, but he really, I get the feeling with Mark that if he knew he was going to be interviewing Maxie, he would put a little bit more product in the hair. Just make sure it was working properly. You know what I mean? I mean, I can't blame him. If I had hair, I would use product. As I don't have hair, I'm never on
just basically used it to express my depression through lockdown over the last year.
I've noticed that.
It becomes a performative thing.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's a little bit like the sort of character from The Breakfast Club. Like a sort of girl.
Which one?
Well, there's the girl who has slightly unusual hair. No, not Molly Ringwald. Definitely not. You're not Molly Ringwald.
You're saying I don't look like Molly Ringwald?
You definitely do not look like Molly Ringwald. You don't look like any character in The Breakfast Club, but you've got the haircut of somebody who's about 17 years old and needs to find something because they've been stuck in a miserable lockdown situation for ages. Just to,
I think I've almost got the haircut of Ferris Bueller's sister, Joni.
Oh,
yeah. That kind of, the sausage ringlets. Yeah, love that film.
Love that film.
Great movie.
I can watch that film if I'm channel surfing from any point that it starts, be it the first minute or the nearly last. Just what a great film.
It's the ultimate when you want to watch something that you know so well that you don't need to pay any attention to it, but also if you do pay attention to it, you will have a great time for the minutes that you're paying attention, and then you can also stop. That's it.
It's a bit like IPL, actually, in that respect.
Very much so. I've enjoyed the bits that I've watched, but I've spent a lot of time not watching it tonight.
Yeah. And from a
Siraj,
you can usually tell what's happening.
Bowling like Pat Cummins, says Praveen.
Well, yeah, I get that.
There's a bit more movement in the air than Cummins. Cummins is a bit more up and down.
Yeah, but I know what he means. He's bowling quite a hard length today. I think that's fair to say. And actually, Pat Cummins had a terrible first half of the last IPL off the back of his big transfer. I mean, terrible. He took his first wicket at the cost of 280 runs. I think he's kind of worked out what to do. I think he's got IPL bowling.
A rough wide. That wasn't a wide, was it?
Do you think of height?
Yeah,
we can never
he's been
tell.
wided for height.
Pictures foreshortened, and you can never trust the looking straight down picture. That always gets you in trouble when you're commentating off tube, Geoff. You must remember that. That's never a wide, and then they show it from side on.
Looked all right. Doesn't
look
wide
all right.
to me.
Nah, that's why it went over his head. They just showed it from side on.
Yeah, but his knees are bent. He's not standing up straight.
Never knees are bent.
Yeah, his knees are bent. He's trying to play a pull shot. He's dipped.
I think
it's a couple of inches over the helmet, and he's got bent knees. That's not a wide.
Yeah, but that was when it was at the back. It's got to still keep rising from the side. When he looked at it from the side, I don't think that the knee bend would count for the
should count. Height. Makes you shorter.
But it wouldn't make up. What I mean is, it wouldn't make up the distance over his head that it actually was when it actually went over his actual head. Well, I'll find.
I'm going to write an angry letter to that umpire.
There's also that. Do you know, my whole prediction's going horribly wrong again. 14 for 1 off 2.5. They're not going to get to 47 for 1 off 6.
They're using the cunning plan of not scoring any runs. I'm not sure what the end point of this plan. I'm not sure how that works, but let's score nothing except extras off Mohammad Siraj. That's the plan they've gone into this game with. 4 byes and a wide.
That is magnificent. He's only conceded 1 run off the bat there. He bowled a wide.
Yep.
That's his first run.
1 wide, 1 single.
Oh, that's good. That is good. Tucking up. Tucking up hard. And the problem is,
it's going to take a convenience break. Then I'll be back.
Oh, be quick, because I need to do that too. Really quite desperately, and I'd forgotten until he mentioned it. Of course, now having done that, I feel the rush of the Gadarene swine ready to emerge from my body. Sorry, people, and I can't answer any of your horrified comments either, because I don't have access to that. That's all Geoff's angle. I'm just a pure guest on this. I'm nothing more or less than a guest. Anyway, I'm going to give you my thoughts. I think Sunrisers are in all sorts of bother here. They've not made any use of the new ball at all. And this pitch has been all about new ball. They needed to get ahead of the rate now. So, yep, that's it. I'd put your firstborn, your mortgage, your life on a comfortable victory here for RCB. And also, I really do recommend that you get Steve Smith's men. I don't know anything about the comeback summer, but there's lots of really good quotes by me and Steve Smith's men to get that. Hi, Geoff.
There we are.
You're back.
Super efficient.
Yeah. I was just saying, I don't think. Oh, that's a terrible ball. That's an appalling ball. Right in the slot. I was just going to say, they're not making any use of the new ball at all here at Sunrisers, but Jameson's just. I mean, look, obviously I wouldn't hit that ball for 6 because I'm a 52-year-old man whose reactions aren't really that good. But it was
on middle stump, and it definitely would have hit middle stump.
It was so full that you'd play that shot, and you've got a lot of margin for error with that ball. that is a terrible ball.
He's got that tall bowler problem that a lot of them seem to have, where everything's either too short or too full.
Do you think they should look at maybe having 3 or 4 inches of their shins removed?
Yeah, I think so. Like,
keep the muscle, just get rid of the bone, and then you'd have like a really powerful shin section. After it,
those egg slicer, those
exactly.
The many strings that you pull down, something like that goes through the shins.
Yeah, and maybe he could sort of rise them and. Like a sort of Constantine, you can sort of like bring them up and down. Maybe you need to get like sort of telescopic shins if you're that tall.
Oh yeah, you could change them depending on the surface. I've got an actual cricket question for you, which a number of people have raised over the last hour or so in the chat, which is, shouldn't Kane Williamson be playing in this Sunrisers side? If you've got a situation where you're playing a lot on slowish pitches where it's hard to get in and You need someone who's clever and can rotate strike and can pick up boundaries where necessary and who doesn't lose their head in difficult situations. Should you not have KW?
Okay, so who are you jettisoning? You've got Warner,
Bairstow,
Rashid Khan.
Yep. And who's the other? Who's the other one? Who's your other foreigner?
We must be able to remember.
Jason Holder.
Jason Holder, right. Jason Holder. You're not getting rid of Warner or Bairstow. So what you're saying is you want to bring in Williamson for one of these two tall all-rounders. Bowling all-rounders who hit it a long way.
Well, I reckon on a surface...
An alternative spinner.
But on a pitch like this... On a pitch like this, chasing 150, I'd rather have Kane Williamson in my team than Johnny Bairstow.
I agree. But what I'm saying is, it's going to be an Indian player who's going to come in. Who are they recommending? That's all I say.
Okay.
I'm all for raising the question. Williamson seems like the obvious pick. But who are you leaving out? Holder or Jameson? Or Bairstow, but I think that way Madness lies.
Yeah,
Holder or Jameson.
Jameson's on the other team.
And who replaces? Sorry, yes.
Holder or Rashid Khan.
Holder or Rashid Khan. Well, so Rashid Khan's not going anywhere. Rashid Khan's going nowhere.
Yeah.
So it's got to be Holder.
So it's out of Holder and Bairstow.
Who's going to replace Holder? What do you need to replace a Holder? And you don't need a light for light, perhaps. Is there a spinner that should obviously be playing? Here in Chennai, as Danny would say.
Yeah, I mean, Kedar Jadhav isn't going to be setting the world alight with spin bowling. Mujib doesn't help your overseas player conundrum.
I mean, there's a good question.
But maybe
should you have had Mujib instead of Jason Holder here?
Maybe it's a Bairstow Williamson straight swap. And yeah, you probably should have had. Probably any time you're playing at Chennai, you should be. If you could pick Mujib and Rashid Khan in the same team at Chennai, why wouldn't you do it?
I mean, if you insist on not opening with Bairstow to start with, then I suppose actually you might as well have Williamson because Bairstow, if Bairstow's not opening, which he so obviously should, the fact he doesn't do it for England simply because England have got so many options for opening, so they can get him to do the role at 4 better than anyone else. But if you get a franchise and you've got one of the best opening batters in T20 cricket, why aren't you opening them?
Yeah.
I mean, why is Ridham and Sahar opening ahead of Bairstow?
And particularly when Bairstow and Warner had a really good partnership.
Yeah.
In previous seasons.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. If Bairstow's at 4, you just swap in Williamson for Bairstow. But then the thinking is wrong to start with because Bairstow should be opening.
Yeah. I think I'm with you on that. If you've got Bairstow in the team, he opens. If he's not opening, why is he in the team?
Well, why is he not Williamson? Yeah.
Why is he not Williamson?
Yeah. Yeah. I too need to nip out.
Yeah.
You got a drink as well, but this time it'll be wine, so it'll take me no time at all.
Very good. You go and do your thing. I'll be here watching the cricket with others. If you've just joined us recently, it's the final word watch along. Adam Collins not present at the moment because his little baby is sick today and in a pretty unhappy state, so he's looking after her. Daniel Norcross is sitting in. Manish Pandey has just pulled a boundary. We're a couple of minutes behind the real world by the time the stream reaches you. So that's the way things are rolling at the moment. It's been very nice to have everybody's company. Thank you for the comments and the chat coming through. We're just trying these things out. You know, we haven't done much in the way of watch-alongs before, so we thought we'd give it a go and see how it works, and we've been enjoying it. There's Nick popping up in the chat. It is a lovely evening for it. Nice to have you along. We're watching Washington Sundar bowling to Manish Pandey and David Warner, 37 for 1 in the 5th over. You're in the future. If you're watching this and keeping an eye on things from another perspective, you already know what's going on. But Manish Pandey got a bit of criticism the other night for not going quickly enough, being not out at the end. I like that I can hear various bangings and crashings in the background, which is Daniel Norcross just crashing around. Pranjal says, it must be difficult to stay up at odd hours for the watch along. Well, yeah, it's 20 past 2 here in Melbourne, Australia, but that's all right. Sometimes we have to do some late nights for the cricket. Cricket never sleeps. That's what we've learned. It's always being played somewhere in some country for some reason. So David Warner has had very little of the strike, but he's done a fair bit with it. 17 off 9 deliveries as the 5th over comes to an end. Dan Norcross is pretty close. I think he guessed it would be 47 for 1 after the power play. But one more over, and it's 38 for 1. So if it's a decent over, it could be big. Bharat Agarwal has cracked open a beer. Cheers, as have I. I think Dan Norcross is off getting a glass of wine, so why not? Harry Chapman enjoying the roll on and off the bed. Nick, yes, we're streaming on different services. Dan is in London. I'm in Melbourne, so we're using the services of our respective countries, which means that they're probably delayed compared to what's on the TV to begin with. Then we're doing a stream. Then we're sending that stream out into the world. So, yeah, we're a couple of minutes behind. Siraj is just starting the 6th over where I am. Oof. Good zing with the bouncer. Got cruelly wided for one earlier, but hasn't been dealt the same injustice that time around with the short ball. You've got to love Mohammad Siraj. It's everybody's new favourite pace bowler.
Who's your new favourite pace bowler? Siraj?
Mohammad Siraj, yep. He
Yeah,
just bowled
that's
the
cool.
identical ball to the one that got wided, and this one wasn't a wide because neither was the previous one.
Oh. He's bowling 3 overs at the top. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. We had some appreciation for your roll on and off the bed earlier. That was...
Well, I'm
There it
sitting
is.
cross-legged, right? Okay. Now, I'm actually, strangely, I don't have many attributes, but I'm very good at sitting cross-legged, but I'm very bad at getting up after having sat cross-legged.
Okay.
My
Right.
legs just go numb. I'm 52
Yeah.
today, by the way.
Sure. Yeah, today. It is Daniel Norcross's birthday.
It's my birthday.
We maybe haven't made enough of a big deal about
You've
this.
not
Happy
made
birthday,
anything of it,
Daniel.
to be honest. You made nothing. It's
And,
been all down to me to do the running on my birthday.
And thank you for spending a chunk of your birthday with
You
us.
don't need to be insincere
watching
with me, Geoff. It's all right.
An IPL game on the internet.
Because Winnie's ill. Yeah.
Because Winnie's ill with tens of fans watching on.
Hello, tens of you.
We're very grateful to. I'm not sure how many people are on the stream, but you're making yourselves known.
Thank
So we're having a lot of kind comments on the
Hang
chat,
on.
which is very nice.
I said 47 for 1 after 6, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Hey. So I must
You're
have
in the
missed an
hunt.
over. I must have missed an over where a lot of runs were scored. What happened in the 5th over, Geoff? Why haven't you kept me up to date? Because they were going nowhere before. What happened?
Runs
Who
got
bowled it?
scored. That's what happened. That's a
Who
great
bowled
question. I
the
wasn't
pile
really
of
paying
filth?
attention.
40. This is brilliant. Come on, 45 for 1. 2 more off 2 balls, and I was spot on.
Yeah, this is what I was saying. You're absolutely in the game at this stage.
I'm Nostradamus, me.
Yeah, look, it wasn't. It was the previous. It was the fourth over. It was the Jamison over. That was the one that really picked things up.
How long have I been on the loo? Or maybe I wasn't watching.
You weren't there when Jamison was bowling, but you weren't paying attention. It was when there were a couple of sixes in the over. Manish Pandey came in and hit a six. Yeah, off the Jamison over.
Man.
2 overs ago.
This is the problem with watching along with you.
Yeah,
is that I can't concentrate. Yeah, I watch it.
You're very welcome to actually watch the cricket. That's fine.
Well, I'll try and do both. Oh no!
I mean, Warner's 27 off 12 balls.
That's ruined it. He's moved to 49. You always let me down, David Warner. Yeah. Okay,
I mean, 27 off 12 is pretty handy on what's supposed to be a slow pitch with 150 a good target.
Well, he's also just hit 2 fours in consecutive balls off Siraj. And I'm sorry to sound like a stuck record, but he bowled 2.3 overs, one for what was it, 5?
13.
1 for 5. He was 1 for 5 off
Right.
2.3. He's 1 for 13 off 2.5. Okay, last ball of the power play. Nice. Tucked into the hip. The annoying thing that Warner's done there is he's hit 2 consecutive fours, which
which you said he never does anymore.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So, well, that's ruined it all for me. Thanks. Welcome back. 50 up.
I think, look, you said 47 for 1. I think 50 for 1 is pretty good.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is pretty good. It's not far off. But
It's
it could so easily have been 47 if he hadn't hit that penultimate ball for 4. If he'd just done the nudge into the onside, which is what he was supposed to do, then Pandy would have hit a single. That was it. And instead, it's my fucking birthday, and I just don't seem
It's fine. You haven't hit the triple 20 3 times, but you've hit it twice and then once in the regular 20.
I feel like I got a bit of a bounce out, to be honest with you. I think I got 120 and was really cruelly robbed by the really chunky wire that's holding treble 20 together. I'll be honest with you. That's how it feels.
It's leg spin time. Leg spin time, baby.
What do you make of Yuzvendra Chahal? He has got the greatest arms in cricket.
Yeah. I love the fact that, you could put him in a laundry sack and carry him over your shoulder and you wouldn't really be puffed out going uphill. And yet he still gets everybody out. Really, really, really good players out. He's the tiniest, skinniest man I've seen play in the professional era.
Do you know what he reminds me of slightly? It reminds me of a small version of, those inflatable men that go, especially they're very popular in Europe, particularly.
Yeah, and car washers.
Car washers, you got it.
Yep.
He reminds me of
inflatable tube.
Yeah, I mean,
did you know?
To scale, obviously.
Yeah. I have a piece of information for you about those.
Ooh.
They have a name. They have as a genre, not individually. Not that this one's Bruce and that one's Brian, but
Bruce,
the thing, the object, has a name.
Mm-hmm.
And would you like to know what that name is?
I really, really would, more than I can tell you. Hang on.
They're called.
Is it a really weird Belgian name? Is it like Walloon? No.
No.
Okay.
It's like it's a beautiful name.
It's a beautiful name.
They're called. You're thinking about it. They're called sky dancers.
Oh.
Sky dancers. Isn't that more inspirational than a sad thing outside a car wash?
It's a lot more inspirational than it is. Yeah. Sky dancers.
Sky dancers. If you want to buy one for your business, if you want to rent one, that's what you have to look up. I'd like to obtain a sky dancer.
It's a good point, because actually, if I go onto Google right now, I'd have to put in, I want to get one of those inflatable things that like Yuzvendra Chahal, but to a much larger, like 5 Yuzvendra Chahals on top of each other.
I've always thought of them as Stuart Broad facing fast bowling.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what they look like.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly what they look like. Unfortunately, this particular skydiver, I've just seen being edged for there's no slip. They've got to take wickets. I'm sorry. I'm going to go very classic commentator, horses bolted, stable door, but why isn't there a slip in? He's bowling leg spin to a right-hander. They're one down after 6 overs. Who captains this team? Oh,
Warner.
That's right. It's Kohli. Warner's batting.
Yeah, Warner's captaining the other team.
Yeah. Well, he's not going to put a slip in, is he?
Okay. No.
Well, he might do, I suppose. That. I think we might have alighted on an absolutely excellent. The Big Bash could do it. Try it next year.
Oh,
where
yes.
if your captain is batting at the same time, he can move one fielder, which would encourage only one, but it would encourage the batsman, the captain in your team. You'd basically have him opening every time, whether he's a bowler or not, and just tell him, it's all right, you bat the full 20 overs because you will be able to move one fielder for every ball.
Oh. I've got a refinement to that to suggest. We've had so much argument about how to address slow over rates. What if you're behind the over rate, the opposition captain can set your field? If you're ahead of the over rate, your captain gets to set your field.
Yeah. No, I like that. No, that works. That really, really works, doesn't it? So you'll definitely start with spinners every time to make sure you're like ahead of the over rate. If you get my drift. Yeah. So then they'll need to find openers who are specialists against new ball spin. This would be marvellous. The implications are huge. I can see Freddie Wild at Winviz getting absolutely petrified here. Whole new set of matchups is required. No, I like it. It's a good theory.
And so for those moments when it dips, they're behind the over rate. Okay, for the next over, sorry, but the other guy's in charge. We're going to have 6 fine legs.
We've got an 8-1 offside field. This would be superb. I like it. Why not? We could. Do we have to do something about over rates? I'm never quite sure about it because a lot of people seem to be very angry about over rates, and it's one of the things that irritates me least about modern life in general. I mean, I'd like them to be a bit quicker, but I'm not going to lie. I seldom go on marches, and when I do, I try to choose really important things.
Yeah.
I'm not sure over rates is one of them.
It's not among the most important things, but there are those moments when you're, doing an OBO and it's been going for 4.5 hours and it's a T20 game and you're like, honestly,
That is a particular, but that's a working in cricket problem, isn't it? I think that actually over rates are more irritating for people who work in cricket because we're like thinking about when we can get finished. And understandably, I mean, who wouldn't? In any job, you're always thinking about when you get to go to the pub. But
it depends on the game as well. The World Cup final of 2019, nobody's thinking about the over rates.
No one's thinking about over rates.
But in a dead game,
bowl another over. It's the score of the time. Just bowl it again.
But on those sort of dirgy games when, the team's chasing 320 and they're 180 for 6 in the 42nd over.
True. Yeah. Get on with
the game should have been over by now and you've got 8 more to go. And that's when you want the over rates to pick up.
Well, that's why I try to make sure that I get as much women's cricket as humanly possible in a year because they actually stick to the clock and often beat it. They're superb at the way they do that. I love that. But, like I say, I'm not sure I care enormously. I mean, sometimes the traffic can get a little bit easier, if anything, coming back from the Oval where we commentate the IPL. If you leave it a little bit later, leave it till 7:15. It's eased a little bit from where it was half an hour before. I don't mind it too much. Where are we at in this game? Sunrisers are cruising, aren't they? So in classic Chennai tradition, it's about to get really difficult. I think I said it was about to get really difficult now, didn't I?
No. Manish Pandey's just hit one literally out of the ground.
Okay. Well,
over the top of the
stadium. That one up. It's going so well. 2 singles and a dot. And then Washington's just bowled an absolute pie. I mean, that is what you want. That is a club cricket ball, isn't it? He's bowled a non-spinning, long half volley outside off stump. Thank you for that. It's very kind. At about 60 miles an hour.
Dot ball either side of that 6, though.
Yeah.
So,
Well, just bowl those
really,
more often.
It's really kept a lid on things aside from the 6.
Well, got a little bit of turn there as well, actually. It's not, well, maybe it's more like cut than turn, do you think? There's a little bit, it's a bit of sort of ripping fingers across it. Do you know what I mean? There's a bit of Chris Harris to it.
Oh, yeah.
Dibble, a bit of dobble, a bit of dibble and dobble.
Chris Harris thing was, that was like this, though. It was like trying to take a light bulb out when he bowled.
Yeah.
Who knew what was going on there? Something,
Yeah.
Mysterious. Those were the kind of gestures you'd be making if you were trying to summon a devil of some kind. That handful of wild herbs.
When your middle name is Zinzan, there's something kind of satanic about that, though, isn't there? Chris Zinzan Harris.
Say my name 3 times on the full moon and I will appear.
You got
it. And I will bowl 10 overs, 1 for 38.
Mysteriously, you will not be able to understand it. I will have conceded 1 boundary only, and it will be an inside edge that went past the keeper standing up, down to fine leg for 4.
So we've got a really good combo at the moment, which is Manish Pandey wearing the hat, David Warner, no headgear, just doesn't need it, no helmet, no hat. Get out there, let the follicles breathe.
Yeah.
I find sunrises really confusing because there are so many orange caps around, and I keep thinking, wait, is that the leading run scorer in the competition?
Yeah.
No, that's somebody else. Or Wicket, which I can't remember which colour hat is for which.
I think it's Nitish Rama.
Yes, at the moment. Yeah.
And the purple cap is Andre Russell after taking 5 for in 2 overs yesterday. That was something else.
That was very attractive with the new look. Andre Russell, who's got his knees replaced clearly after.
Well, they've been replaced with sort of equivalent but sturdier knees, haven't they? I mean, he wasn't the quickest between the wickets.
No.
He and Chris Gale would be a very interesting combo. It would definitely be boundary. The
2019 World Cup, that's the most crocked I've ever seen a player on the field, was Andre Russell trying to play for West Indies. Because Gale was unfit in that tournament, but Russell couldn't move.
We did that game together, didn't we, at Taunton?
Yeah.
Was it against Bangladesh at Taunton? And he absolutely was wrecked. And they were trying to get anything out of it.
Did we have the Australia game at... Yeah, we had Pakistan at Taunton.
Pakistan at Taunton. That was the one I was thinking of, yeah. And he was in all sorts of... Well, I say in all sorts of bother. It wasn't so much he was in all sorts of bother. It was just... He was a statue. If it was modern day Britain, honestly, there would have been 15 policemen in high-vis jackets just protecting him from an imaginary baying mob. Bit of turn there. Look at that.
Yeah, but that's a nice shot, though.
Slips in as well. That's a lovely shot. Yeah. Slip is at least finally in. He's a studious-looking young man, isn't he? Manish.
Kohli does love the move someone in the field to the place where you just missed the chance.
That's right, yeah.
Big fan of that.
Yeah. He's really got to try to work on that game and see if he could sort of imagine that it might have been necessary before it was necessary.
Visualization, if you will.
Yeah, he's played quite a lot of cricket as well as Virat.
They call it on daytime TV. They call it the secret. You've got to think about what you want. What do you want? And you want to get a player out.
That's it.
And how might you get that player out?
Wow, leg
spinner
to a right-hander. I wonder. What's the leg spinner going to do?
Oh, God.
Turn it away.
The strategic timeout.
Oh, yeah.
Started blasting motor racing into my ear.
Oh, no, I've got an advert for the Barclays Bank. Other banks are available, although I don't need to say that on this particular.
Now, Abhinandan has made a very good suggestion, I think, which is that they should try Maxwell in these overs.
I agree with him entirely.
You should always try Maxwell. Never not try Maxwell.
As I said earlier, Rohit Sharma tried himself. So, I mean, Maxwell is like a a vastly better version of Rohit Sharma when it comes to delivering relatively pacey, mostly non-turning off the filth.
Yeah. He's the Jim Laker of Rohit Sharma's.
How dare you? Well, yeah, he's the Jim Laker of Rohit Sharma's. Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
He can ping 6 balls in at leg stump and not give you that much to hit.
Since we are in the strategic timeout, have we got any questions or observations from the wider audience? There's a good one there on Maxwell.
Let me scroll through, and I shall let you know.
Nitin, that is a good song.
Yeah, Nitin observes that the sad thing is that Andre Russell was an unbelievable fielder before his injuries.
That's true.
Poignant.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah. Knees wait for no man. Dennis Compton. He was a great footballer, great cricketer. Yeah. The knees in the end. The knees had it.
The knees. They sell you out. Joshua Thomas says the last couple of RCB Sunrisers encounters have followed the same pattern. Anyone else, or is it just me seeing it? Josh, I'm going to be honest with you and say that my ability to recall immediately the last couple of RCB Sunrisers encounters is limited.
Is it the time?
But if you say it's true, it's both. It's also that the last time they played one another was 6 months ago, and frankly, I don't remember what happened.
I don't remember 6 months ago. No. I mean, that was before I was really poring over vaccine stats. Because in England, of course, we keep on vaccinating people, what the NHS does in large numbers, which keeps me excited. In fact, since it is a strategic timeout, I'm going to have a
update me, please.
Yeah, I'm going to update you using those of you out there who are interested, if you want to get it. Public Health England normally provide us with our daily stats at 4 o'clock. Sometimes it's not as early as that. Knowing the fact that we have to wait for the Welsh a lot of the time. It's always the Welsh that's the problem. Okay, so here we go on Wednesday the 14th of April, my birthday incidentally, for those of you who are just joining us. The number of people vaccinated, it's up a bit. Oh, that's good. Second doses are up to 8.17 million. First dose is 32.3 million, which is marvellous. Number of people tested positive, just under 2,500.
33 million. You've got through 33 million first doses.
Come in. Hang on.
Oh, that's all right. You've got to do what you've got to do.
Oh, wait a second. Hold on.
Yes. So elegant.
Thank you.
The birthday tea tray.
A snack.
All right. The birthday snack has arrived.
I've got a birthday snack. Can you believe it?
The roll off the bed was particularly good. I paid attention this time around.
Yeah, we've got 32 million first doses.
Tell me about the snack. I'm more interested in the snack.
Well, it's cheese wrapped in chorizo.
Oh,
as well as
a winning combination.
One tuna mayonnaise and sweet corn, half of a tuna mayonnaise and sweet corn sandwich. So obviously that's being rationed. Catherine will be having the other bit. 2,500 people tested positive. That's good for us. In Australia, of course, that would be enough for you all to run for the sea and then go and just like live in the Pacific Ocean on a raft for about 6 months in the hope that it gone away. Deaths, I'm sad to say, are up a bit. 38 today, so that's up 20 over the last 7 days. But again, generally speaking, not bad. Number of patients admitted to healthcare, that's gone down. It's all good. It's all good. If you're out there, you want to know how to get it, Public Health England, and you can find out the daily update of numbers, which of course suits somebody like me. And you can even drill down. This is something that's brilliant, Geoff. You can drill down to your own postcode. So when I do this, and I put my own postcode in, it tells me exactly what's happening in Tootingbeck West, where I live. No one has tested positive in the last 7 days. And in Wandsworth, the borough in which I live in London, 13 people were tested positive yesterday, which is 73 in the last 7 days, which is 20 per 100,000 of the population, which in English terms is very, very good. In Australian terms, like I say, that means the zombie apocalypse has arrived.
Yeah. slightly different approaches. On the flip side of that, we've vaccinated about 4 people, and you've done 33 million. So
yeah, I know, but we've hoarded quite a lot of them, I believe. There's a whole lot of politics involved in it. And I got the AstraZeneca jab and was then told immediately straight after, oh, well, if someone from South Africa comes, you'll almost certainly die, and be careful of blood clots. Neither of which, incidentally, is true, but there's an awful lot of nonsense around it. So maybe not having a vaccine at all, but getting to go to the pub still, is probably just fine.
The cricket's back on, but we can go to the pub. We just can't let anyone else into the country to also go to the pub. So
you've never really been too keen on that, have you? I mean, since you arrived there, that's been
pretty much got in and then tried to close up the doors immediately afterwards. No one else.
No more convicts.
We've got our quota.
Exactly.
Harshal Patel has not taken 5 wickets so far tonight in his first over.
No, he's not.
It's been
he's come on quite late.
Relatively tidy.
That?
That's interesting, isn't it?
That's an intriguing one, isn't it? I don't mind it as a plan, actually, because I could see him at the back end of this innings being particularly fruity.
Yeah, he could just bowl through if he could get those cutters going the way he did the other night. It's all the slower variations.
I do love the way it comes out of his hand in this mysterious way.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, Daniel, and say that they do need to get someone out, the Royal Challengers Bangalore, if they'd like to be in this game. They've got to get somebody out. You can do this, start the squeeze in the way that happened to KKR the other night, but you've got to start with a wicket. It has to come from somewhere.
I take that point, but I get the feeling that they might be about to get one, and I think it's going to be Pandey. Okay. I think Warner has decided that he's going to bat, even though he's 38 off 24, but I think he's in a decent zone here. I think Pandey is going to lose his rag in an over or two's time. Play the big one, and it's going to get caught in the infield. That's my guess. Do you mind awfully if I just munch on my tuna and sweet corn sandwich?
No, you do what you got to do.
I might mute myself.
Yeah, you can.
I'm starving.
You can go for it. Entirely within control. The reverse from David Warner. Cheeky. That was quite, that's the low risk reverse. He's gone low to high, got on top of it, kept it into the ground. No risk whatsoever. This is clinical Warnerish stuff. Here we go. The Sky Dancer. Chahal, dot ball. Can be hard to get away. So it's interesting that this is our version of a sort of accumulating David Warner innings, and he's 42 from 26 balls. Okay, make that 46 from 27. The sweep. The conventional to follow the reverse. It's basically ensured there's very little pressure on them at this point. Run a ball. But KKR needed 31 off 31, and they managed to botch that. Nothing is unbotchable in cricket. I feel that Daniel's agreeing with me with the sound off. Almost nothing that cannot be botched if your willingness to botch it is strong enough. It's very good backing out from Pandey. Made sure he got through. So Chahal hasn't had the zip tonight. Warner's found a way against him. Cheers, Daniel. Happy birthday.
Mm. Words cannot express how much I actually needed to eat that.
Mm. I understand fully.
I've had virtually nothing all day. I had brown shrimps on toast with butter and one piece of smoked salmon pate on toast. And
just the one piece of smoked salmon pate. Just a couple of slices of duck terrine and a leg of pheasant is all I've had to tide me over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When you get to my age, honestly, you need to eat a lot all the time for fear that you'll be dead tomorrow. So you've got to taste as much as you can. Yes. that was a rather effective over, wasn't it? They're in trouble here. They're in trouble here. I don't quite know what RCB are doing horribly wrong here, apart from being warned, frankly. I mean, Pandy's playing a role, and that role will be fine, but that role will be a disastrous role if Warner was out and Wicket's going at the other end. Warner is basically winning this game at the moment.
Yep, he's had that capacity for such a long time. I think it's easy to not quite realise how profoundly influential he's been in this competition, because he's played in just about all of them, aside from the one where he was banned. He played in the first IPL back in, what was it, 2008 or 9?
2008. Yeah, this is the 14th.
As a kind of pre stardom for Australia. He's the 4th highest run scorer in the history of the competition.
He's a leading overseas run scorer. Has he got 5,000?
Yeah, but he leads everybody. No, he's got 4,200-ish, I think. But because Kohli's on top, Suresh Raina, Shikhar Dhawan, Warner. Mm-hmm. For an overseas player to be in the top 4 is frankly ridiculous. When most overseas players play some of the seasons, but exactly. Warner's had this consistency, this durability to be there year after year after year. He's been as regular a part of it as any local player, and
he gets better. He gets better. The thing is, he's better and better and better.
Mm.
I don't quite
certainly
understand
more reliable.
Why isn't Bairstow opening? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Mm.
The Sahar thing doesn't make any sense to me now. I can't fathom it.
Just a lot of teams love to have a wicket keeper opening the batting.
I think another part of it is I think that there's a misconception, which is that you want to make sure that you can lengthen your order by having people further down it.
Mm.
And that doesn't
by having
make
good
sense.
players.
That's just fear. That's just fear.
Yeah.
You just put the players at the top of the order, and they'll score the runs more times than they want. That's why
maybe it's also maybe it's the need to be able to just absolutely go for it in the first couple of overs, regardless of whether you should be going for it.
And
but
so
then most teams don't play that way
sacrificial
anymore.
Is that the idea? So if Sahar is sacrificial, it doesn't matter.
He's the Kalavattarana, just go for it. It doesn't matter if you're out for 12 off 4 balls. Fine.
I'm not sure
give it a shot.
He's very good at that, though. Are you? Mm. That's the thing. I'm not sure he's.
I guess the thing is, no one plays like that anymore. Even Jason Roy and Johnny Bairstow don't play like that necessarily. They'll often face out the first couple of overs for 4 runs or 6 runs from the first 12 balls and then get going. Yeah. They don't just come out and blindly go for it from ball 1.
This is a good over, though, from Harshal. I'm liking this over. Dragging it back a bit. I know he's still not got the all-important wicket that you're desperately keen for, but he's kept Candy on strike there for 5 balls. So there's a bit of pressure here on Warner. I mean, I say there's pressure on Warner. There isn't really. The sensible thing to do here is not do anything unsensible.
Yeah. But, if they need 62 off 48 at the end of this over, if a wicket falls, that suddenly becomes a bit difficult.
Well, and, RCB were 92, weren't they, at this stage?
So single, Warner keeps
So they're ahead of
strike.
that. They're ahead of
That's
that with an
interesting.
extra wicket. Yeah.
Now, you've got a happy birthday from K.O. Nair. I'm not sure if that's Karan Nair of Triple
Will be,
Century
yeah.
fame, but I hope it is. Yeah, big fan of the stream. Thank you.
He sees it as his way of getting back into the Indian team record, you know, because you and Adam are very much opinion formers.
James Hunt is asking about whether we could have you have your YouTube stream on a laptop so you could see the comments. I will say, James, that this was very last minute. So any sort of idea about things that might have been the ideal setup, those are good ideas, but they weren't necessarily going to happen on a day when we don't know what we're doing. Let's be honest. We're cobbling together technology. It is faintly miraculous to me that I can be on a video call with you, Daniel, and have the game running and be on the internet and have other people able to see it, and they can hear us and see us. All of that's worked, which is remarkable to me.
All right, Grandad. I mean, you know about the digital watch as well, do you? Oh, Dan Christian's in the attack.
Oh, hello.
I do love a waddling Dan Christian.
Yeah, this. Oh, run out. There's the wicket. He's out. That's out.
No, he's fine. He's fine.
You reckon?
Yeah, he's in by about a foot. I'm going for a foot.
Going for a foot.
Yeah, I'm going for a foot.
I got excited.
Not a yard. I'm not going for a yard. I'm going for a foot.
No.
These, by the way,
okay.
are utterly delicious. Oh, actually, yeah.
I'm not sure if he's even taken it with the ball. I think he's taken it with the gloves.
He's Lewis McManus, that, isn't he? Wow.
Was that the stumping the other day?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the wrong-handed stumping.
Oh, it's caused a terrible kerfuffle.
Has it?
Oh, terrible kerfuffle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know in Australia it's that day we go, but in England, where we have been upholding great traditions like, colonialism, imperialism, and slavery for hundreds and hundreds of years, for somebody to appeal for a caught behind, stick their right hand up in the air, but then flick the bells off with their left hand, then for a wicket to be given by the square leg umpire, and for them not in that split second moment realise what happened and then call the batsman back because they've been given out the stump, not caught behind, shows what terrible, perfidious, and appalling people they are, apparently. Whereas I kind of tend to think that he may or may not have cheated. I do not know. I'm big into discovering as I've got older. This is a little birthday message for you all out there. The older you go, I think the more you realise that you just don't know. I don't know. Is that bad? Should I start knowing again?
You just don't know. Well, we did know that was not run out in the end.
I knew that.
So my initial enthusiasm was misplaced.
You don't want Warner out at this stage, surely. I think he's going to be vital. You can see it's getting harder to bat. So remind me, the strategic timeout now, this is the batting one.
Yeah.
So if I was the batting side, I would take it now.
So that it doesn't get in the way later?
Exactly. You've got two people in. You can just chill, chat. Take it now. Take it now.
If you can also take it when a wicket falls, then you could just do that. Just have a couple of extra minutes after the wicket.
Good point. Good point. Just keep batting until the wicket falls and then go.
But what's the latest point when you're allowed to take?
16.
Okay.
End of the 16.
Yeah.
So you're saying they're kind of in. They might as well just keep batting. They're looking okay. Take it the moment a wicket falls. I like your thinking. That is tactically apt of you, Geoff.
Tactically apt. Little dot ball from Dan Christian.
He's a funny bowler, isn't he, Dan Christian?
Yeah.
Can he? Sometimes I think he overthinks it. He thinks he's got a plan and he will not deviate from it, like the wide Yorker from around the wicket to the right-hander at the death.
Yeah.
He loves that. When it comes off, it looks superb. But that is a high difficulty tariff strategy, isn't
it? He's also he's the kind of bowler who can, on a pretty regular basis, have an analysis something along the lines of 4 overs, none for 46. You know, he can get absolutely collared, and that is partly because he tends to bowl at the end, or you know, he doesn't bowl the last over, but he'll bowl the 14th or the 15th or the 16th or the 17th when teams are looking to line someone up. But
I like a cricketer who does that, though. We know a lot of cricketers who are very happy to bowl overs 7, 9, 11, and 13. You know. If you get my drift. We've all played with them. And they can be particularly smug in the bar afterwards about how their figures are better than yours. But you're like, well, I didn't bowl, but he's bowling at the death against 2 set batsmen who you failed to get out, klutz.
Yeah. Getting a fair bit of skepticism about Kohli's captaincy in the chat window.
I'm not surprised.
Which I'm not entirely averse to that. I mean, there is a kind of hypercritical nature to a lot of Indian cricket fandom, but Kohli's. He's not an inspirational captain tactically, is he?
No, he relies very much on kind of inspiring you through his presence, doesn't he? Oh, I say hello. It's starting. Here we go.
Starting to get difficult.
Into the pitch, not coming on. Trying to play shots, can't get them. 54 or 41. Hello.
I just have a feeling that Kyle Jamison's going to bowl an absolute pie at some point in this over and ruin it, though.
I think in part that's because being brought up as an Australian, whilst he wouldn't admit it. Hello.
Oh, Warner's out.
Got him. We did bowl a pie and you took a wicket with it.
Yeah, it should have been hit for 6. Okay.
Yeah.
This gets interesting.
Doesn't it? Because he was the one who was keeping it going. Pandy's been struggling here. I like the look of this. I think this game's going to go. This game's going to go batshit now.
Pandy's strike rate has actually gone backwards in the last little while. He's got slower as the innings has gone on.
We had 4 dots in a single, didn't we, off Marshall's over? I was going to say that I think it's very, very difficult for Australians to think of New Zealanders as anything other than gallant triers and likeable people, despite the incredible mountain of evidence. Like, they're in the World Test Championship final for a reason, and they got to the World Cup final and didn't lose it, and they keep winning T20 series, and they beat India at home, and Neil Wagner's actually really good, even though we can't understand how.
Left arm persistent.
Left arm constant. It's always at you. And Tom Latham is really good, and Ross Taylor is actually a really good player, and Kane Williamson is one of the best. So we can't get it into our heads. It's a bit like the Hobbits are winning, So you kind of think, even if you came up against, even after you've read, which I haven't, incidentally, The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, you'd think, well, I should have learned from this to have respect for hobbits. But not if I'm playing cricket against them. I mean, we're going to absolutely hammer them. We're going to hammer them.
Yeah, they're tiny. Look at their hairy feet.
But no, you're not, because they're really good for a reason. You just don't know what that reason is, or you can't understand it. And actually, I think COVID's made it worse, because New Zealand's been cut off from outer society for the last year. So we don't know what they're getting up to there. We really don't. I mean, Jacinda Ardern, she is up to some serious no good there. She is creating a master race, but it's a master race of nuggety, capable, 5'10" polite, really nice people, or people who are dead good on Twitter, like Jimmy Neesham. It's odd. The
thing I struggle with, though, with New Zealand is that every time they come to Australia, they're awful.
That's true.
Awful. And so as somebody who watches a lot of Australian cricket, I watch all of the other teams as well, but that part of it makes it more difficult to understand how good they are the rest of the time. Because whenever they come here with really good teams on the last couple of tours, they've come over with teams who've been flying, who've beaten lots of other good sides, who've been in good shape to do well, and then they underdeliver massively. And it's disappointing.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, Australia.
I want to see New Zealand do well. Yeah. But they just come over and fall apart.
Yeah.
So
that's horrendous.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. That might be their Achilles heel. It's just you. Because when they come to us, they're very good.
The run rate, required rate, getting higher and higher here.
Told you. It's getting exciting.
Noted by Naranjan, getting up close to 9 and over. Bairstow at the crease, though. Oh, yes, he's squeezed away the little pull shot. Okay. That helps a bit.
That was a terrible ball. They bowled so well in that over.
See, I predicted that.
You did.
Yep.
You said exactly that was going to happen.
Absolutely. I didn't say what would happen before it, but I did say you'd bowl one really bad ball and give away a boundary.
No, I'm afraid it was a bag of absolute rubbish. That last ball. I thought he was a bit quicker than he is, but he's not. He's as quick as he is. If you get my drift.
He's as quick as he can possibly be, being the person that he is.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't like to say. But I expect him to be quicker than he is. And maybe that's my fault.
You expect him to be quicker than he is?
Yeah. Well,
yeah. Okay.
A bit like Jason Holder. He's enormous.
Yeah. It's enormous.
You expect the ball to come out faster than like 81 miles an hour.
Yeah. I can remember Chris Rogers talking about facing Carlos Brathwaite in a tour match before a test match in 2015 and getting out to him because Carlos bowled so slowly and he just assumed this guy's at 7'2", he's going to bowl heat. Got in position to face heat and got a gentle medium pacer that he steered to gully and was out. So yeah, not everybody who's
it's a clever ruse, isn't it? It's a clever ruse. Yeah, maybe that was something that Andrew Flintoff and Steve Harmison should have tried more often. Just hurtling in and then letting it go at about 79 miles an hour.
So they still haven't bowled Maxwell, which is interesting.
It is, isn't it? Shabazz is bowling instead. What do you make of that? Well, obviously they've recognised a requirement for spin, so I wouldn't be surprised if Maxwell bowls the next over, potentially. If you get my drift.
Not a bad delivery. Just squeezed back down the wicket.
Now, Bairstow is part of the reason they have him at 4 is because there's supposedly this mastery of spin. So you want him to be in the middle order to be able to take advantage. But then there's mastery of spin, and then there's playing spin on a pitch that really assists spinners.
Yeah.
It's slightly different.
I'm a big fan of seeing a bowler who comes between the umpire and the stumps, though.
Oh, me too.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you know, for some
personally,
reason,
that would be really confusing if trying to bowl that way, but someone who can do it, into it.
Oh, hello.
Hang on.
That's not gone far. Somebody out there? No, it's landed in safety. Goodness me. I was going to say,
Sunday struggling.
For some reason, I've always thought that if nuns played cricket and were slow left-armers, they would all go between the umpire and the wicket. It's a sort of nunnish move. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a full habit.
None for 62.
Anybody who bowls like that makes me think of nuns. I have no idea why.
You know what? I think I know why.
Yeah.
I think because there's a sense of gliding that happens going between the umpire and stumps because you can't see the feet the whole time. And you're thinking of the Mother Superior from the Blues Brothers movie from the early 80s, who you never see her walk. She just floats along the hallway, floats into a room, floats away, and that's what it's making you think of. Yeah,
because the umpire's obscuring my view of their feet. I can't see their heels picking up, so I'm thinking of nuns.
You think that they're sliding along the ground like little penguins.
Have you thought of ever being like a kind of psychotherapist or just like,
based entirely on pop cultural references?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I think you're right. There wasn't, whilst I very much enjoy the Blues Brothers, in many ways I was thinking more of my ancient Greek tutor's Sri Lankan wife, who was a biologist of some repute, who used to glide in that fashion, but used to wear clothes that were reminiscent of a nun's. And also, I've had dealings with nuns. I was forced into an Anglican church in my very early years, and so nuns. I say nuns; they were more like sisters, really. Because nuns was altogether more Catholic. But you know what I mean? These kind of like floaty women whose feet you never see. They were everywhere, like Daleks.
They couldn't go upstairs.
Yeah,
Charles back.
You never let them upstairs. They get very shocked.
Chahal's back. No Maxwell. All Chahal. We've had 7 bowlers. No Maxwell. Interesting.
Okay, 5 overs left here. Who's got what? Who's got what left? Have you got a?
Chahal's got 1 left. This is it. This is his last one.
Okay, who else has got overs left? What have you got? You've got scorecard.
Everybody, because they've used 7. So
I can't remember who they are. I've been drinking all afternoon. And it's my birthday.
Jamison's got 1.
No,
Washington's got 2.
Yes.
Harshal Patel's got 2.
Yeah, I'd say give him 1.
Yep. Shahbaz Ahmed has 3 up his sleeve. You'll be pleased to know.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. Yeah, okay.
Dan Christian's got 3.
No,
Siraj has got 1. Siraj will bowl 1. Harshal Patel will bowl 2.
Yeah, but don't you want a bit of Washington Sundar in there? I mean, look, this rate's getting up to 8. 8.5 here. Isn't it?
Okay, so probably Washington bowls the next one, and then Harshal, Siraj, Harshal.
Or Siraj only got 1 left.
Yeah, 1 left.
Harshal, Siraj, Harshal. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that thinking. Yeah. Oh.
Bairstow's running has been influential here as well. He's so quick to get back. He's
like one of the Hussies, isn't he? He's like Mike Hussey.
Yeah.
Mike, what a runner Mike Hussey was. Terrifying running between the wickets. But yeah, Warner.
He's forcing Pandey to score runs.
Yeah, whether he wants to or not. Look where Bairstow is. He's
yeah. Bairstow was almost ready to face the ball coming from the non-striker's end.
Extraordinary. Randy can't get to the orange cap though. Not from today.
Well, not the way he's
It's going to stay. Well, there aren't enough runs left, are there? Really? That's club. That's horrible. Oh, hello. And it won't take long for Bairstow to get a little bit concerned here. 9 off 10. What's he do? He said 2 balls left of Chahal. He's bowled really well. I always think at this stage, do you just block it or stroke, look for the single? Because he's the threat here, isn't he, Chahal, don't you think?
But you can also take him down at times. There you go.
Flat. Oh, yeah, that's the perfect shot, frankly. Cut away through backward point. Like it. Not running 3 this time.
Back for 2.
Again. 36 or 4.1. We need a dot ball here. We're up to 9, don't we? 9, it gets interesting.
Yeah. 36 off 25.
Yeah. Come on, dot it. No. Only the 1. Okay, nearest damn it, 9 and over. That's all right. Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
So 35 off 24. Okay.
Strategic timeout.
Oh, strategic timeout.
And he's coming
Thank God for that.
Warner's coming out with Trevor Bayliss, my favourite man. I don't think I'll ever get over the beauty of George DeBell's comment about Trevor Bayliss, which you'll be very familiar with. What does Trevor Bayliss do? Well, Trevor Bayliss apparently is there to create a good atmosphere for the England team to thrive. So George posited the notion that wouldn't it just be a lot cheaper to get a warm bath with whale noises and scented candles than pay for Trevor Bayliss to do that? And Trevor, to his great credit, didn't take umbrage at all and met up with George for dinner and asked him where his scented candles and whale noises were. He was lovely about it. There are some great Trevor Bayliss stories.
And you know, I suppose if you take a job like that, and that's the worst thing that somebody says about you, you've done very well.
Yeah, well, he relatively famously was laid back, wasn't he, in the changing room? And apparently there's one time during a sort of really tight run chase when he suddenly leapt out of his chair. And one of the players said, you okay, boss? I said, relax, it's okay, we've got it under control, it's okay. He says, no, sorry, I just nodded off there for a minute. I had to wake myself up. You know, he's just a thoroughly lovable guy. I like him a lot.
Did a lot for the wearing of floppy hats.
Oh, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, especially because it had been so long. I mean, there'd been obviously Richie Richardson, then there'd been Stuart Broad, who still does it, of course, but for the slightly more, because he reminds me a little bit of Droopy, the cartoon dog, you know, who was forever badgering the bear in Alaska while he was trying to hibernate. Man. And see that with a floppy sun hat on. That was just a perfect sartorial combination. I
mean, you're used to seeing a couple of fast bowlers per team do it. You know, that's not unusual. Okay. But the omnipresence, you know, I'm the coach. I wear this hat. I'm going to wear it to every press conference, every video interview, every TV spot. He was wearing it coming out for the Seat Tyre strategic timeout. Yeah. He was wearing an orange one. You know, got to make sure you get one color-coded for the team. If he got knighted by the Queen, he'd get knighted in that sun hat. Yeah. I have no doubt about it. Maybe the hat should get knighted first. I think we should abolish knighthoods myself, but, you know, if we're going to keep them, then yeah, I say both the hat and Trevor. We should probably abolish Queens while we're at it. Don't get me started on that. I could get into trouble. Shabazz is getting another over. Another over? Who thought that? Yes. After okay, so is this a Kohli masterstroke? Is this will we be forced to eat our words? I suspect not. No, I think he's going downtown here. Oh, he's going to get a wicket. He's got him. He's got him, definitely. No, it's a genius Kohli masterstroke. It's a Kohli masterstroke. The captain of the millennium. He knows what to do. Do what your opponent least wants. The number 4 spin specialist, who's not opening the batting for reasons we don't understand. Oh, that turned quite nicely, didn't it? And off quite that was a cross seamer as well. That wasn't a that came across the seam. Wow. Good decent catch from AB too. Yeah, decent catch. Yeah. I mean, we think it's decent because he's so old that he made that much ground. Yeah. And his face must be hurting. His very tender facial skin must be stinging the whole time. And yet he was able to push that out of his mind and get across for the catch. Will you excuse me? I'm going to go and get some wine. I won't take long. I realise I've been drinking an awful lot more than you, but in my defence, it's my birthday and it's late afternoon. So I'm not sure if you have. I've just been discreet about it. Oh, have you? Right. Okay. But you're drinking beer, aren't you? In small tins, and it's Australian beer. So, you know, everything in that suggests absolute piss. Whereas I'm drinking fine Italian white wine. Fine Italian white wine. All right. Well, it's all on Manish Pandey. 38 off 38. He's got the strike. Samad at 5. He's got to boost it above a runner ball here. Shabazz. Oh.
Oh, another one.
Is he going to get another one here? It's the master stroke of all master strokes.
Come on, Virat.
The Mike Brearley of India. He's.
Hang on. It's Pandy as well, isn't it? It's Pandy because they're crossed. Oh, my God.
Yeah, he's got the 2-set batsman out.
Yeah, he's following exactly the same pattern as yesterday, basically. This is just, except not necessarily the people we thought doing it. This is insane.
Now, we do need to...
I've got to get some... Sorry, Geoff, I've got to get one to get back to you, and I can't... this is now too thrilling. It's too thrilling. Too thrilling, George!
Go and do your
Geoff, whatever. Jerry!
I do have to clarify that last delivery was absolute shit. Wide pie, there to smash, except Manish Pandey wasn't there to smash it. Well, if people didn't like the way he batted the other night, they won't have liked this. So, do we have a repeat? Do we have a hat-trick? You'll already know this. If you're watching this, you'll know if one was taken or not. But if Shabazz takes a hat-trick, that'll be a turn up for the books. I'm excited, even if you're not. Where I'm watching, he's coming into bowl to Vijay Shankar, just blocking it away on the front foot. No hat-trick ball. Remarkable. So, a lot of people talking about the KKR Mumbai game earlier in the evening, saying this wouldn't be like that. Well, maybe it will. Two new players in. Shankar and Samad. Samad was really good the other night. Oh, very few deliveries. 25 off 11 balls, I think. Smashed a few around. Nick Armick has delayed his stream to sync up with us. Remarkable. All right, Nick. Well, if it helps, we're about to see 16.5 overs bowled, except that now my stream is frozen. There we go. Now we're back. Forward defensive shot from Samad. It's going to be a third wicket. It's going to be a third wicket. He's taken the court and bowled. 3 in and over. Daniel Norcross is going to be delighted when he comes back. 3 wickets in the over for Shabazz. 116 for 5. 1 run off the over. Hey, Daniel.
Another one?
Another wicket. He's got 3 in the over.
Is it the same one?
No, another one.
It's another one.
But yeah.
I'm doing it. Hang on. Don't tell me it was a hat trick. Don't tell me it was a...
Not a hat trick, but 3 in the over. A couple of balls later, he's picked up his 3rd in the over. Shabazz, the master stroke.
Oh. God, Samad is going to be... Oh, Samad at that.
Hey. Yes. Well, he belted a few the other day, but it didn't work out for him today. Now, Jason Holder. Let's find out if he was the right pick for this game after all.
Good point.
Good old
this is really
Jason.
Intriguing, though, isn't it? Because every innings on this pitch has followed the same pattern now. So we can kind of like say to ourselves, Chennai, you have got to score like 80% of your runs in the first 60% of your overs. That's basically what it amounts to, isn't it? I mean, I think you've probably got like 12 overs to get runs on this pitch.
Yeah, it's not a T20 game. The last 8 overs of your innings can only bring trouble.
Yeah, if you can get 5 and over in the last 8, that's great.
Yeah. You regardless need to get 13 and over in the first 10.
Regardless of who's in, I mean, like when Maxwell was in and going well, he got progressively less well in a way. Like everybody just got worse. This is another reason why you've got to put AB de Villiers. If you're playing in Chennai and you've got AB de Villiers in your team, you have to open with him. You basically there's no point in him coming in after 13 overs because he'll find it almost impossible to bat as anyone else. So maximize your. This is I think.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh my word! No, what? He's thrown at the wrong end. Well, he's missed at the right end, and then they weren't able to just. Oh my God! What was that? This is the wheels. The wheels are falling off, Jerry. They're falling off. Worlds are colliding. Oh,
Serenity now.
Serenity now.
32 off 16. How have they got to the point where they need 12 and over?
And do two a ball. I know. It's crazy. This is what happened
32
yesterday.
off 16.
Yeah, I know. This is look at this. What about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 runs in the last 2.2 overs, 14 runs in the last 3 overs, basically, and they've lost 3 wickets.
This and last night are like the cricket equivalent of when the spaceship in 2001 A Space Odyssey is being shut down. It just Daisy.
It is. It really is. Innings just stopping. Yeah. Well, they're screwed now. I mean, all the tension's gone out of the game. There's no way that you get 31 off 15 on this. Oh, well, they can if they bowl like that. That's crap. No ball. Here we go. No ball, free hit. That's what nearly changed it yesterday. Bumrah's no ball. Is that a turning point again? Says Murali Kartik. I've got to love Murali Kartik for asking the questions that no one else dare ask.
No.
Is that the turning point?
Was it? He was the one who did the post-match interview with Dhoni, didn't he? The match where Dhoni ran onto the field yelling at the umpire about a wide, and then they didn't even mention it in the post-match interview. It didn't come up.
Best not to. A story, is it?
Boring. Yeah. Nobody wants to hear about those same old questions again.
Oh, so he's back for 2. Oh, that's all right. Oh, so they got 2 off the free
dislocated his shoulder and almost killed AB de Villiers with the throw.
Also,
and
though,
AB's stolen Jason Holder's bat. Okay.
Why does Holders insist on hitting the ball down the ground? You know, I love Jason Holder, but that ball needed to be hit over either deep backward square or deep forward square. It was full toss on his pads, and he insisted on trying to play it with a straight bat, the MCC coaching manual. You can't hit that one for 6 straight just very easily.
Just does things his own way,
Great ball, lovely ball, right in the block goal.
Oh yeah, can't do anything about that.
Now, for those of you who are wondering, it isn't Adrian Shankar, and there'll be certain England cricket fans or English cricket fans out there who'll know what I mean. It's not Adrian Shankar out there batting, although Adrian Shankar will almost certainly like you to think that it was.
David Warner's looking pretty grumpy now.
He is. He's a contemplative warthog at this point.
Another one. Oh my God, another wicket. Kohli's got it. The genius.
You're ahead of me.
Who could have doubted?
Oh, yes.
Captaincy genius. The captaincy genius of Virat Kohli. Nobody could doubt it.
Well, yeah. This is extraordinary. I say it's extraordinary. Why do we think it's extraordinary? Because we've now watched, this is the 4th innings we've watched in 2 days on the same pitch, basically, which has gone exactly the same way. I mean, it's why getting to 150 was so key. I mean, those last 2 overs are absolutely crucial, aren't they? And they felt quite important at the time because it looked like they were going to be 135, 140.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think you said at about the 17th over, you said 130, and then they were up to 150, and that absolutely made all the difference.
Over. It was that awful boovie over. It was terrible. Of all
completely
people.
unremarkable I mean, completely remarkable and completely unlike him in that he bowled so well through the 5 T20s and the 3 one-days against England, that the first T20 he was a little bit rusty, but didn't bowl badly, and then just got better and better throughout those 8 games. Immaculate. And then just lost it today somehow.
In 1 over.
27 runs off 2 overs they need now.
Oh, they're screwed. Surely they're screwed. I mean, both these guys can hit a 6, but if you don't bowl a shit ball, Siraj, he's bowled superbly tonight.
Rashid Khan can helicopter some stuff. Oh, yes.
Oh, hang on. You're ahead of me. You're ahead of me. You're ahead of me. What's going on? Oh, yes.
I love that man. Rashid Khan.
How could you not?
What a marvel. What a wonder. I'm just going to play a helicopter square drive over backward point for 6. First ball.
He's like the Edward Scissorhands of batting, isn't he? I mean, basically, the bat just like...
Yeah.
Where the ball goes in places that you cannot expect it to go in,
One of my favourite memories of the 2019 World Cup was him. I think he made 27 off 11 balls, batting down the order for Afghanistan playing Australia in that opening game. This kind of pick-up pull shot from outside off stump that he whacked over deep backward square with. It's all that wrist crack.
Yes. And it was sort of like from there, wasn't it? It was almost like
like a lasso.
You know when Jadeja gets his 50?
Yeah.
It was like he was doing that, but actually to the ball.
Yeah. It's a lasso, but with a cricket bat.
Yeah. Okay.
So 20 off 10 balls.
Okay, so I'll put this question to you. Do you want Rashid, if you are a Sunrisers fan here, do you want Rashid Khan or Jason Holder?
Rashid.
So why is he batting below Holder? Because, let's face it, when they came in, it was much the same situation when Holder came in as when Rashid came in. Yes,
well, I think we've established there are problems with the batting order for Sunrisers.
I think for everyone. I think everyone's got the whole batting orders all screwed up. Josh Butler's batting at 4. Oh, don't tell me that.
Sorry. I was 5 seconds behind you, so I skipped to being 5 seconds ahead.
Pause for a bit. Otherwise, you're going to ruin it for me. I can't have a tight finish with you knowing what's happening and saying he's out.
No. Well, I've at least we've resolved the Jason Holder or Rashid Khan debate because there's only one left.
But have we resolved the Jason Holder or Kane Williamson debate?
No.
Have we got any comments from people here, or are they all spoilers?
Well, Sandeep was a suggestion as a bowler who could come in for Jason Holder, a local bowler.
Yeah, I like that.
Then open up a spot. Open up a spot for Kane Williamson to come in instead, but
that's no bad theory.
Yeah, but I still subscribe to it, particularly if you're playing here where you need to score everything in the first 10 overs. You want Bairstow up top.
When did they lose their second wicket and when did they lose their third wicket?
Second wicket was...
Oh, you haven't got a scorecard open.
Warner. Second wicket was Warner, wasn't it? Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So they basically lost 6 for zip here.
Yeah. First wicket was early, was Saha.
Well, they've lost 5 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What did they do? They lost 5 for 8 for 15 here, haven't they? Or 18.
Yeah, they were 1 for
15,
96.
Okay, so 6 for 34.
So they've lost 6 for 34, yeah. It's not good.
It's what happens on this pitch every time. Every time. Lovely hoik for that. Can we get 2 for that?
Mm-hmm.
They are.
Now.
Why though? Because actually it wasn't. Oh, it was Rashid on strike. Okay, cool. Okay.
Arohan would like to suggest that Rashid Khan should be a floater in the order.
I couldn't agree more. I agree with you.
Come in as a pinch hitter at times.
Roshan
following the Sunil Narayan trajectory, I guess.
Correct. Absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. Okay, big ball. This is a huge ball. Oh, yes, the forward smash. Is there anyone out there? Oh, there is, damn it.
Yep.
2, but 2's handy. 2. 16 off 7.
11 off 4.
Okay, big question here. What do you mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So, does he want the single to be on strike for 15 off the last over? Does he try to hit the 4-12 off the last over with Bhuvaneshwar on strike? Not ideal.
Hit
or
a
does
6.
he just got to go for the 6? But if he can't hit the 6, does he instantly pull out of it and try and get the single? Oh, it's got neither. It's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. Oh, no. There's a full toss wide outside the off stump. He could have hit that anyway. He could have got any of the 1 or the 4. Couldn't have got the 3. There would have been no point in the 2. He's got nothing. Under edge.
Could have whipped the 6 over point if he really got going.
By the way, do either of us care who wins, incidentally?
No, not really.
No, neither do I.
But I'm interested in, maybe this is Bhuvaneshwar Kumar's redemption moment. Bowled a bad over before. Maybe he's going to bat a blinder.
Oh, you're always thinking with the journalist hat on. Yeah.
It's all about the story.
All about the story, yeah.
16. Can he get 16 of 6 balls?
I'll never forget this IPL game because it took place on my birthday, because I didn't already know. Oh, yes, get through for a single. That's right. Mind you, that was a wonderful Yorker there. If he bowls 5 more of those, there's however many Edward Scissorhands, Rashid Khan is, he's not going to be able to manufacture 15 runs off those balls.
I have a question from Harsh Thakur. Why are all these expensive international bowlers getting trashed in the IPL? I think the answer is that all bowlers get trashed in T20 cricket at one time or another. It's not really a bowler's sport.
Yeah. Depends on the international bowler, doesn't it? The Trent Bolt. Oh, horrible ball. Brilliantly played. They'll
get trashed sometimes.
Yeah, Bolt. Okay,
yeah, back for 2.
Okay.
They'll get trashed.
13 off 4, need a 6. Yeah, sorry.
No, nobody says this, but Trent Bolt bowled horribly in the World Cup final. He deserved to have lost that game well before they had a tie. He bowled full tosses.
He also should have taken that catch at deep mid wicket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he did take it. He just
he should have got rid of the ball. If that ball goes for 2, even.
Yeah.
New Zealand win easily.
Oh, another full toss.
No, you're ahead of me.
Sorry. You don't know what happened. You just know it was a full toss.
Hello. Where's that gone? It will find the boundary. Yes. Oh,
4.
9 off 3.
It's a no ball.
A no ball. What a disaster.
No
oh, God. It's an 8 off 4. This has what's he done? Oh. I mean, there's somebody actually literally crying there in the audience. And now Warner's up. Oh, yeah. Why is that a no ball for height? Yes. Oh, I don't know. He kind of flexed the knees a bit there, didn't he? That's tight. I'd like to see a side on call on that.
That's very close.
That was close, wasn't it? Because he does a little knee flex anyway, this Rashid. Okay. It's a free hit. Thank you very much for that, Murali Kartik, in my right ear.
Yep.
It's a free hit. I know it's a free hit. It's got free hit written on the bloody screen. Okay, big moment.
On Daniel Norcross's birthday.
Sure.
On his birthday.
Oh, brilliant. On my birthday. What a brilliant free hit ball. That was gutsy. The slower ball, short filth ball. That was genius. I take my hat off. I mean, the previous ball was a pile of dog shit, but that is brilliant.
8 off 3. 8 off 3. I don't know do I want anyone to win here?
No, I want a super over. I want a super over. I haven't had enough. I haven't had enough cricket.
Yep.
Come on.
He's out.
Oh, Paul.
Easy.
No, he's not out. No, there's going to be 2 there. He's got to come back for 2. He's going to be run out. He's well out. Okay, 7 off 2 there. Fine. Okay, that's a shame.
Go on. There's that BBC accent again.
Yeah.
BBC voice to be.
Yes. Oh dear, they're fucked.
Hesitation, no good.
Why would they hesitate? I mean, you just got to know what you're going to do there. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't think there's two there, to be honest. He's not Johnny Bairstow, is he, Rashid Khan? Many things, but he's not quick.
No.
He's not fleet of foot.
But you might as well try. Like, he's maybe the throw's bad. He'd be as useless than on striker's end as he will be now that he's out. So,
yeah, that's true. Only trouble is, who's on strike? Nadeem.
Yeah, true.
Who can't back
Nadeem. No.
I mean, there's an argument here for going 1-6. You know, just get Boovie on strike, because Boovie can hit a long ball.
Yep. But he has faced one delivery in this innings.
Yeah, look, he's very unlikely to do it. But you've always got to be thinking about your options here. If you're Nadeem, do you go for the big swipe? I suppose the swipe up in the air is fine, so Boovie can get to the other end. So at least a 6 would tie it. Oh, hang on. Why are the one short? You're joking me! Have you seen this? One short. Wait. The umpire signaled one short.
They're saying he didn't complete the run. Is that Rashid Khan? So on the one where he got run out.
Oh, so he was run out without getting a single run. So they haven't even got the one run that they got for that. So now they need 8 off 2.
So they need 8.
Well, now Nadeem has to go for it. He has to. He can't get the run and put Boovie on strike. They are utterly screwed here.
Yeah. He's not going to do this.
That's brilliant. No, it's not. It's out. Hey.
It was the right idea.
The right idea.
He had the right idea, you know. Back away, get yourself some room, get it over the top for 4. You know it's going to be short.
Do you know, in the last 3 balls, this game has swung from, we had the no ball, which meant they needed 8 off 4 with a free hit, to needing 8 off 1. With 2 wickets going.
It's a short run. Jesus. Yeah. Far too much has happened in this game.
I'm not
Especially
sure
considering nothing happened so out of the 40 overs, I reckon for about 20 of them, nothing has happened.
Correct.
Through the middle of both innings. And then everything has happened in the last few.
Do you think this is a problem with the format? This watch-along thing, is that going to be a problem? Because, you know, you're basically watching 2 people who are just watching a game together, who have drifted in and out of consciousness, and now suddenly you need us to be on it, and we're not.
No.
Oh, well, that's it. RCB 2 out of 2. Well, it's following the same thing, isn't it? If you're at
it's exactly the same game.
Bat first, score like a spawny 150. Everyone thinks you're absolutely toast. The Oppo make it look like you're toast because you get to like 80 off 10, and then they fall apart in the last 10 overs.
Crucially, bat first make that bat 140 in 12 overs, and then make the remaining 10 in the next 8 overs.
Correct.
And then then try to just scrap your way to. That is remarkable how much that fell away and how drastically that fell away.
Remarkable if we hadn't seen yesterday.
Yeah. But even including yesterday, at about 12 overs, everyone in our comments was just rinsing Kohli for being a waste of space, and that, you know, RCB couldn't get anything right. And, I mean, in the end, it looks almost comfortable. I mean, that is absolutely bizarre looking at the way things have gone here. So,
what do you think? Do you like it? Do you like it as a sort of template? I mean, we were asked quite an important question earlier. Would you rather see 200 v 200, or would you rather see like 160 v 160? This is slightly more extreme.
Yeah,
150, 140. But I think I would, because I think I quite like the kind of weirdness of it.
They're different kinds of games. So the Rajasthan game the other night with Sanju Samson making the 100 and needs 6 off the last ball and turns down the single to try to hit the 6 off the last ball, caught on the rope. That's the perfect high scoring game. You know, the Deepak Hooda innings, the Joss Butler little cameos, it was fun. It's a lot of fun. This is a different kind of fun, but this is where the bowling has, the bowlers get to show off more of their skills, and it's about who can make it difficult to score and who can take pace off when necessary, or have the change ups and make it hard to.
Though, about the bowling, then let me ask you, because it was only really possible to hit bad balls in the last 10 overs.
Yeah.
So whilst we spent quite a lot of that game going, who are they going to bring on next? What's the tactic going to be? Actually, the tactic at Chennai for the last 10 overs should be who can put the ball where they say they're going to put it, and just bowl it there. Because the pitch will make it so difficult for the batters to do anything that they're screwed. You know, I mean, it basically rewards pedestrian bowling.
Right.
So, and Boothie went for loads because he bowled it over when
only
he tried,
in one over.
In that one over, but it's a crucial over. I mean, that was the over that changed the game. Actually,
on an ordinary night in an ordinary T20 game, 4 overs, 1 for 30. That's a good night's work. It just so happened that almost all of those runs came in that one over. That it did damage at the end.
If his balls had hit the pitch, and that's all it was, he bowled 3 full tosses,
3 full tosses,
and a wide. You know, and they all got punched. Because if you bowl a full toss on a pitch like that, that's the biggest cardinal error, which makes you think that actually, on that kind of a pitch, you don't need to strive for the Yorker. Because that's not the percentage ball to bowl there. Because actually, you know, the occasional Yorker's going to go full, it's going to get hit for 4. Now, if you're playing on a pitch like the other day, where Rajasthan scored 200 base 200, then you'll search for the Yorker because it makes sense. On that pitch, actually, just hit a length. Just hit a length. Just turn up and hit a bloody length because they can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
You know? That's got to be the way forward, isn't it, there?
It's quite remarkable that you look at a scorecard where Boothie 1 for 30 off 4, Jason Holder 3 for 30 off 4, Rashid Khan 2 for 18 off 4, and that side didn't win. You know, that side held RCB to 149, and well, that was enough. It's quite extraordinary.
It was sort of inevitable for about the last 4 overs, I want to say. You know, when they got to needing 35 or 4, that was when we both went, I'm like, oh, hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on. It's going to happen.
Too much.
And then the next over took it above 10. And it's like, oh, there's shitty no way you're going to get 10 and over on this. Unless somebody bowls a bag of shit. The only balls that went anywhere were terrible balls. I mean, not just not very well bowled or in the slot. They were just absolute dog shit. So
honourable mention for Shahbaz Ahmed, 3 for 7 off his 2 overs, picking up a couple of wickets with absolute dog shit. He bowled a couple of horrible balls that got wickets because by that point they were just trying to put him on the moon.
That was a highlight of my day, actually, was when we were going, oh, hello, what's Kohli up to here? Oh, yeah. Is this a master stroke? It's a master stroke.
Yeah, it's a master stroke. That was only the first wicket that made it a master stroke.
Yeah.
But it was hilarious. Well, that's the results in the end. RCB win by 6 runs. They're 2 from 2. And Sunrisers get to win a game. It is 4 in the morning.
Do you want to like round up what everyone said and then go to bed?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll have a look at.
I'm thinking about you, really.
Yep. I think we're nearly at the end. Mel Shawley's been watching along, enjoying the company. Nick Armack says this has been fun. Digging these more informal things once in a while. Yeah, we're not going to do it all the time, but we might do it once in a while here. Arahan says what we've been saying, that this match was a carbon copy. I didn't notice this. AB was asking, shouldn't Harshal be taken off for bowling 2 no balls? Did he bowl 2 no balls for Hunt?
Oh.
Or was it?
Did he?
Or was it? I'm trying to remember the previous one.
It's late for Geoff, and it's
Yeah.
frankly, I've been drinking all day for me, so it's hard to
recall just
yeah.
about anything.
But it look, I'll tell you this: if he did, then you're right.
Yes, and if you didn't, you're wrong. That's
Yeah.
pretty much
well. There's
the
that. I don't want to be so harsh, but yeah.
The short run. How good was the short run?
Oh,
So
it was
suddenly
glorious.
7 off 2 becomes 8 off 2.
So rare.
After the free hit that they didn't take advantage of, then the free hit's a dot ball. The no ball goes for 4. I mean, just everything happened.
Do you know the greatest short run in the history of cricket for me was India against England, World Cup 2011, a game that was a tie. And I, at the time, on Test Match Sofa, which I was commentating on, we were sponsored by an Australian betting company. And so we used to make these sort of frivolous bets. I can't remember the exact score that India got, but it was in the region of 335, right? So you got to bet above or below 335, let's say. So I said they're going to get below 335, and it was at the odds of 5 to 6. And we placed this bet earlier on, and so we've done this with Cricket Bet Live. We've placed our bet, and it's under 335. And then off the last ball of the innings, India got to 336. And then the umpire gave 1 short. So we got the bet, and the game ended in a tie because it was 1 short. Otherwise, India would have won by 1 run. So that was for so many reasons the greatest run 1 short I've ever seen. Maybe it's 328. Was it 328? People may know out there. They'll be able to remember. I can't remember. I don't remember those sorts of things. I remember stuff from the 1920s quite genuinely, but I don't remember stuff from the 21st century. So forgive me for that. But you've been marvelous company, people out there. Thank you very much for keeping us going, and thank you, Geoff, for keeping me going. Have we got any more thoughts?
I have a message for you from VJ Kanan, who says, "Is that Dan Norcross with a ciggy? He wasn't kidding on Jared Kimber's podcast about that hack for keeping a raspy voice. I've grown up listening to you, Dan. Hope you're well." It's Dan's birthday, VJ.
VJ, that's very, very kind of you. And it is me, yeah. And look, don't smoke. It's bad for you. But if you do smoke, then try to become a cricket commentator. I don't. That's a mixed message, isn't it? Really, but it's a thought.
Well, thank you very much, Daniel Norcross, for filling in for Adam on babysitting duty, sick kids, and all the rest of it on your birthday, particularly. Glad we were able to watch the cricket with you, and thanks to everyone for watching along. It's been fun. We may do it again sometime. Just keep an eye on the feed, and I guess we'll work that out. We'll probably be chatting to Glenn Maxwell tomorrow. He's our India correspondent, so we'll get his thoughts on this match as well. So stay tuned, everybody, and we'll see you soon. It's been the final word. See you next time.
Thank you, people.